Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of our story. If you like this what if story and want to see part 3, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by 𝐿𝐼_Brownie on Wattpad. Now, let's start. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I helped Eri pack her bag after class and 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 came over and Eri reached up to take her hand. Momo told us to go ahead and that she would catch up to us. So we meet up with all might. He had 3 people with him. I looked at the people and they were looking at me very intensely. All 3 were wearing cloaks. The man in the middle walked up to me and when I looked into his eyes they were cat-like eyes. Eri noticed it as well. I asked him if he was Bahamut. Bahamut PV hello young one, it's been a while, are you ready for your training? 𝐒𝐿 POV what kind of training? Bahamut POV I will make you strong. I spoke with your mom and your teachers and you will be coming with me. 𝐒𝐻 you can't take my daddy, he has to help me with my homework and he keeps the bad man away. Are you mad at my daddy? Your eyes look the same as my daddy's eyes when he is angry. Bahamut PV no little one, I'm not angry. I'm excited to train your daddy. These 2 are going to help. Who is this bad man who has you afraid? 𝐒𝐿 PV he is known as Overhaul. He did bad things to her before I saved her from him. How long is our training going to be? Bahamut POV it will be for about a month. Your time here. It will be a lot longer where we will be. I will not lie to you young one, it will be very hard training. Your adoptive offspring will not be able to join us. 𝐒𝐿 POV will I be able to visit him or will he be able to visit us? Bahamut POV you will not be able to visit him. The gravity where we're going will kill you. 𝐒𝐿 POV what? I look over to Deku who went pale. 𝐒𝐿 POV how will I be able to live if it will kill them? Bahamut POV your bones have been marked and they are a lot stronger than you realize. Once I remove that mark you will feel what I'm talking about. Your body is now ready for the power I granted you. All Might POV the mark restricted his power. I thought it reinforced his body. Bahamut POV I begin to chuckle, it did both. I know you gave him your strength, I also gave him mine. If I didn't seal every bone on his body he would have died within minutes of receiving my power. Eri POV daddy I don't want you to go. 𝐒𝐿 POV don't worry my little rabbit. I know you don't want me to leave but I need to get stronger. Not only to better protect you but to be a hero I need to be stronger. Bahamut POV I begin to laugh young one, I'm going to train you to control your power. If I undid your seal now and didn't teach you to control your power you would kill everyone you touched by accident. You wouldn't be able to control your weight. The seals I placed on you controlled how much you really weight. You probably weight in at about 70 to 80 tons. Bakugo POV I walked around the corner and heard talking. As I listened what I heard made me nervous. How can who is strong enough to kill people by accident just by touching them? When I heard Deku reply I went from nervous to angry. There is no way he is that strong. I turned to walk away and saw Ponytail walking towards me. 𝐒𝐿 POV am I really that strong? Bahamut P yes I'll teach you a great many things but we need to leave. 𝐒𝐿 POV I look over to 𝐒𝐿 and I see Momo round the corner and I call her over. I kiss all 3 of my girls goodbye. I leave with Bahamut. Time skip. Bahamut POV when we arrive to the training site. I look at the young one and I told him that this would probably hurt. Before he could answer I touch his head and he began to scream a little. I removed all of the marks on his bones. I see the ground buckle where he was standing. 𝐒𝐿 POV I feel the ache in my bones when Bahamut touched me. I yell out, I feel my feet sink into the dirt. I dropped to my knee and the ground gave some more, then the pain was gone. When I stood up I look at Bahamut, he smiled, he held out his hand and helped me up. I felt different. It took me a moment just to able to walk again. He looked over to the other 2 people that were with him and called them over. Delinda and Tanwen joined us. Bahamut POV begin his training. 𝐒𝐿 POV I was ready for a fight like at the training camp. They told me to follow them so I did. I wasn't ready for what came next. They began to teach me how to heal not just myself but to heal others. I was confused. When I look behind me I see Bahamut sitting and smiling. He saw the confused look on my face and he walked over. Bahamut POV what is wrong young one, you look confused. 𝐒𝐿 POV I thought you were going to teach me how to fight. But you're teaching me how to heal others. Bahamut POV what is power to you young one? 𝐒𝐿 POV the ability to save others, to make people feel safe and to make evil fear me. Bahamut POV that is part of it but compassion is also part of being strong. Don't ever forget that power without compassion is tyranny. That would make you as bad as the people you're trying to stop. These two are some of the best healers I have trained. They will be very useful when I begin to spar with you. 𝐒𝐿 POV. I trained for what felt like months but was about a week back home. I was a quick study and I could see the smile on Bahamut's face. Then he told me I was ready to spar. When he opened his cloak, his wingspan was very impressive. It snapped out at me. I got my arm up just in time to block it, and the force launched me through trees and through the building we were staying in. When I landed, I thought I would be dead. 𝐿𝐿inda came over to me and healed me. I learned in our time studying that her name meant noble serpent. Bahamut POV. Rest time is over, young one. Come. I will teach you about how to use your wings, your tail, and to do partial shifts like how I am right now. Did you know your voice is even a weapon? Before you leave this place, you will know how to control your strength and how to use your entire body as a weapon. 𝐒𝐿 POV. I got up and I rushed at Bahamut. When I saw him open his mouth, I leaped out of the way. My instinct screamed when he let out a roar that made my bones rattle, and the area where I was a second ago was destroyed. Bahamut POV. Good young one, how did you know to jump out of the way? 𝐒𝐿 POV. I was about to answer when I felt something wrap around my ankle. I looked down and saw it was his tail. I found myself getting thrown. I crashed into the side of a hill. 𝐼𝐻 came over to me and healed me. Her name means white fire. She leaned over and told me that she thinks that Bahamut really likes me. Bahamut POV. You need to learn to pay attention to everything around you, young one. The better you can do this, the less likely the enemy can surprise attack you. Come now, young one, I will teach you how to use your whole body like a weapon. I will make you strong. 𝐒𝐿 POV. I woke up to another day of training. After Bahamut's first day of sparring, I've been fighting with 𝐼𝐻 for the most part. First was regular martial arts, going over the basics. Then it was sparring, then it was no holds bars fighting. When we were done, Bahamut would go over what I need to improve on. After a few weeks of fighting, they taught me how to do a partial shift, and then we began fighting again. When 𝐼𝐻 would do a partial shift, her white hair moved like it was on fire. She was terrifying and appealing at the same time. Bahamut POV. As I watch the young one training, I see his potential. He never quits. He listens to my feedback and works on his shortcoming. Even after 𝐼𝐻 beat him up, he bears no ill will towards her. His training is going better than I expected. He is almost ready for the next level of his training. I call out for them to stop so we can eat and go over today's training so far. Young one, you made great strides with your training. Your use of your tail and your wings have impressed me. You're starting to keep up with 𝐼𝐻, and she's been fighting for the better part of a century. Tomorrow you're going to fight 𝐿𝐿inda in her full dragon form. How are you feeling, young one? 𝐒𝐿 POV. I'm okay, but I'm just a little bit homesick. I miss my family. This is the first time that I've been away from them. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate you training me, but I love my family. I noticed how 𝐿𝐿inda and 𝐼𝐻 looked at me when I told Bahamut this. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. It felt like a combination of pity and understanding. I looked at both of them and said thanks for both training me and healing my wounds. I looked at Bahamut and saw that he was smiling at me. Bahamut POV. I couldn't help but to smile as I listened to the young one thank his trainer and healer for their efforts. Young one, how is it that you remain so humble? I've watched over you through your triumphs and your failures, and you remained humble and very grateful. 𝐒𝐿 POV. I know how I feels to not be able to help anyone. To be powerless, I felt worthless, and by chance I was recognized by you and my favorite hero. I know that I have to work twice as hard as everyone, but now I can make a difference for many people. Bahamut POV. Young one, just remember that you already made a huge difference for 3 people, your adoptive offspring and the other child. You saved both their lives. You also saved the girl from a punch that would have killed her. You even tried to save that ungrateful rival, but for now your rest is over. Back to training. 𝐒𝐿 POV. After training was over, I walked over to my bed and sat down. 𝐼𝐻 came over and sat next to me. She asked me about the children I saved. I told her about it. Then she asked me about how I saved the girl. I told her about that when I was interrupted by Bahamut. Young one, why do you downplay what you did? Bahamut POV. I began to tell 𝐼𝐻 about how he saved the girl when 𝐿𝐿inda walked in, and she sat down as well. I saw the look in their eyes when I told them how he broke his arms protecting the children and the girl. I see the young one turn red and looked uncomfortable. He doesn't like being in the spotlight. I get up after embarrassing him and walk away. 𝐻𝐻, why didn't you tell me that you broke your arms when protecting the children and the girl? You broke one saving the children and continued to fight with that broken arm and broke the other protecting a girl right after the first fight. I have a newfound respect for you. I know you train hard, but I didn't think that you were that brave. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I shift uncomfortably on the bed. I turned to look at 𝐻𝐻 and she leaned in and gave me a kiss. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I shift uncomfortably on the bed. I turned to look at 𝐻𝐻 and she leaned in and gave me a kiss. I feel my heart start to P&D and I turn beet red and she burst out in laughter. She got up and told me to rest, that tomorrow was going to be a long day. When I woke up I stepped outside. I saw Delinda and she smiled at me, then she shifted. What I saw left me awestruck as she leaned in. I reached out and touched her. She scales were smooth and she was a bright red. I stepped back and looked into her eyes and I smiled. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was 𝐻𝐻. She explained to me how to shift completely and maintain control. I took a deep breath and shifted and the training began. 𝐸 POV Mommy, when is Daddy coming home? It's been 2.5 weeks. I miss him. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 don't worry about it too much, he'll be home soon. They said he would be gone for about a month. But we're going to take Momo to meet up with Grandma tomorrow. But for now continue to do your homework. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I sat down on the ground breathing. I was exhausted. I marveled at the utter destruction we left from our fight in our dragon form. Delinda walked over to me smiling and told me not bad for my first fight in dragon form. She didn't look half as bad as I did, but I guess she has been doing this a lot longer than I have. I asked her, are fights in this form always this destructive? Delinda PV not really, they are normally worse. I can see that you were trying to be careful of your surroundings. When we fight in earnest we don't worry about what's around us. When we're done we heal the injured and try to fix what we destroyed. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 while I take a sip of water as I listen to Delinda. She told me that she likes the emerald green of my scales and I turn red again. Delinda PV you really don't accept compliments well, do you? 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I'm just not used to it. For most of my life I was bullied. I didn't have the strength to defend myself. I tried but I normally lost. I didn't make my first real friend until I got to high school. I feel 𝐻𝐻 touch my back and my aches all faded away. I turned to thank her and she smiled at me and told me not to thank her yet. It's time for you to start fighting again, and I don't think that Delinda will be as gentle this time. I get up and I see 𝐻𝐻 walk away and I begin to shift and get ready for my fight. Bahamut PV I watch them fighting in full dragon form and I can't help but to smile. That boy is doing very well. Delinda is really going all out this time and he hasn't fallen yet. I think next week I'll join in the sparring and teach him how to control his strength. That thought alone put a smile on my face when an idea came to mind. I'm going to teach how to really control his fire and how to control electricity. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I fell down after shifting back to my human form. I was completely exhausted. Delinda came up to me quickly. I felt her touch and my body didn't ache anymore, but I was still very tired. 𝐻𝐻 slipped under my arm and Delinda slipped under the other one and they helped me to my bed and everything faded to black. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I have begun training with Bahamut. I thought that training with Delinda and 𝐻𝐻 was hard. He is on a completely different scale of power. In his human form he flicked his finger and I was sent flying. Our fights were quick and very one-sided, but I learned and improved. Then we fought in our partial shifted forms and once again he brought the pain, but I fought on. Then we fought in our dragon forms and he leveled an entire mountain with me. If it wasn't for Delinda and 𝐻𝐻 I don't know if I would have survived his training. But he ensured me that I was doing well. Then he started to teach me to control my fire and how to control lighting. I was amazed with what he could do with fire. Bahamut POV young one, you have done very well. I will finish training you this week and we will go back to your world. But you're going to have to stay away from everyone for a couple of days until you get reacclimated. You must practice picking up delicate things and practice walking. But for now back to striking with electricity. If you don't pick a focal point and reach out with it, your electricity will spread and be less effective. But you can use it for area damage, but by picking a focal point you can strike a single target from a much longer distance. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 POV as I continued to practice I was able to strike target a football field away with electricity and I was able to do things with fire I never thought possible. Then he told me it was time to leave. Delinda and 𝐻𝐻 both smiled. Bahamut gave me a warm smile and told me that he had one final lesson for me. He taught me how to make gems with my tears that I could give to someone so that I could always find them. Then he said, I have a gift for you also. Bahamut POV, for not dying during your training, I'm giving you a small hoard. I outgrew mine centuries ago, but young dragons need one. You will find it under your dwelling when you get home. Don't forget what you learned here and you will truly be the greatest hero your planet has ever seen. I will place you in the cave we first met and you will find glass cups there. You can leave the cave when you can pick up a cup and not shatter it and walk without launching yourself into the ceiling of the cave. Let us go. You can leave the cave when you can pick up a cup and not shatter it and walk without launching yourself into the ceiling of the cave. Let us go. Izuku POV, they dropped me off at the cave. I went to take a step forward and flew right into the ceiling just like Bahamut predicted. I saw the glasses lined up neatly against the wall. I touched the first one and it shattered. After a few hours I began to cry. I was so close to home, but I couldn't leave this cave for the first time in what felt like a year. I was truly alone. I picked my head up and continued to practice. It took me 3 days to be able to walk normally again and another day to pick up the glass without shattering it. I pulled out my cell phone and called 𝐒𝐿. She sounded so happy to hear from me. I told her that I was on my way home and that I will see her soon. 𝐒𝐿 PA, it's time to tell grandma goodbye. I have a surprise for you when we get home. I look at my mom and whisper in her ear that Izuku has returned and I want to surprise 𝐻𝐻𝐿. My mom said it was a shame that Momo and your father had to leave. Something about a renovation for your house. It's okay mom, I'll just take the train. I like riding on the trains. But I'll see you soon, love you mom. I look at 𝐻𝐻𝐿 as she hugged her grandma and said goodbye. Mom, why are we leaving so soon? I thought we were going to wait for grandpa to come home. 𝐒𝐿 POV, it's a surprise and I know you're going to love it. When we got to the station I felt a prick on my leg and everything went black. Izuku POV, I called All Might and let him know I was back in town. He sounded happy to hear from me and wanted to schedule a time so my teachers could see what I have learned in a month. Then I got a beep on the other line. It was 𝐒𝐿. I told All Might I would call him back. When I swayed over I almost crushed my phone. It was Overhaul and he had both 𝐒𝐿 and 𝐻𝐻𝐿. They told me that they were safe for now but that he had plans to make me suffer for my actions. I start to see red and he hung up the phone laughing at me. I called All Might and told him what just happened and that I was on my way home. I look at the direction of my school and leaped into that direction. I was soaring through the air. I released my wings and flew quickly to my school. I landed right in front of my house in minutes. All Might and the staff were arriving at the same time I did. 𝐒𝐿 POV, I woke up in a dark room and I started to look for 𝐻𝐻𝐿. I heard a muffled cry and I saw her hiding under a bed. I called to her and she crawled out and ran to me. She began to bawl saying the bad man has us. I hugged her and told her it's going to be alright. 𝐻𝐻𝐿 POV, he is going to punish me and he is going to hurt you mommy and it's all my fault. I don't want you to get hurt. I'm so sorry. I wish daddy was here. He'd find us, he'd save us. 𝐒𝐿 PA, it's going to be alright. Remember when I said I had a surprise for you? Guess what, daddy just got home and it won't take him long before he realizes something is wrong and he finds us. 𝐻𝐻𝐿 POV, really, he got home today? 𝐒𝐿 PA, yes honey, when have I ever lied to you? 𝐻𝐻𝐿 POV, never. Overhaul POV, I walk into the captive's room and see them hugging and a smile on 𝐻𝐻𝐿's face. How sweet, you look happy. 𝐻𝐻𝐿, I knew you wanted to come back home. I missed you and our time together. Don't worry, I won't harm the girl as long as you do as I say. If not, you know how far I will go to get what I want. 𝐻𝐻𝐿 POV, my daddy's is back home and he'll find us and save us, you'll see. Overhaul POV, first of all you're mine. I called your fake daddy and told him I have you. He will never find you here. You know this place is a maze. Even if he showed up we would be gone and the girl will die before he could save you. 𝐒𝐿 POV, I pull 𝐻𝐻𝐿 behind me and asked him how did he get Izuku's number. Overhaul POV, I used your phone while you were still sleeping, but don't worry, you won't get a signal down here, so be a good girl and be nice. Or I'll make 𝐻𝐻𝐿 suffer for your actions and you don't want that, do you? I have a meeting to attend. I will be back soon. 𝐒𝐿 POV, I saw Overhaul leave the room and I smiled at 𝐻𝐻𝐿. Don't worry my little rabbit. I will not let him touch you. I remember something Izuku told me and it made my smile even deeper. He told me that he will always be able to find me. It won't be long before he gets here. Izuku POV, as I look at All Might and my teachers, I told them everything Overhaul told me. All Might POV, I can see the anger in young Midoriya eyes. They were starting to shift. I put a hand on him and tell him to breath. I see him take deep breaths and smoke started to come out of his nostrils when he exhaled. Then he looked me in the eyes and told me he has to go get his family. I remember when he told me that he would always be able to find 𝐻𝐿𝐵. I reminded him that he isn't a hero, yet this is hero work. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 All Might, this is my family. You don't understand the nightmares Eri had when she came to live with me. He told me he was going to make them suffer. I'm not going to wait. I'll get them back and bring them home safely. I'm going to change now, and then I'm getting my family because it's the right thing to do. Mr. Aizawa POV troublemaker, listen to me. If you go down this route, know that this isn't training. They will try to hurt or even kill you. You don't have permission to die. Go get your family quickly. We will be there as soon as possible to make sure you're alright. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 Yes sir, Mr. Aizawa. I bolt into the house. I saw Momo and 𝐻𝐿𝐵's dad. They both looked at me with surprise and confusion. I told them I will explain everything as soon as I get back, but for right now I have to go. I changed and bolted out the door. I leaped into the air and let my instincts take over. I release my wigs and make a course change and pick up my speed. I can feel her worry. I fly even faster. I land in front of a mansion. The impact from my landing shattered the concrete. I can feel 𝐻𝐿𝐵. She is underground in the house in front of me. I pull out my phone, call All Might, told him where I was, and I went to work. 𝐻𝐿𝐵 POV I felt the ground shake and I ran to Eri. She asked me what was that. I smiled at her. Daddy is here. Stay with me, I'll protect you. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 POV I ran to the gate. The only thing keeping me from just destroying everything is I didn't want to accidentally crush my family. As I got to the gate, a big guy came out to greet me and I welcomed him with a punch that threw him back through the gate and into more of the Yakuza. As I entered the gate, all hell broke loose. They shot at me with guns and others used their quirks. I hardened my skin and decided a partial shift was best. Bullets bounced off me. I barely registered the quirks. I used electricity and dropped most of them. I pushed forward into the mansion and kicked the door right off the frame and ran into the building. Overhaul POV What the hell is going on? Chrono ran in. Boss, we're under attack. How many are there and how come we didn't know? Chrono POV From the reports there is only one, but he is going through our forces like they were nothing. Overhaul POV Who is this person? All Might is the only one strong enough to pull that off, but he is retired. Chrono POV I think it was the boy that took Eri from you. He fit the description. I didn't think that he was that strong. Boss, maybe we should leave. Overhaul POV We will not lose to just one person. Send the precepts. Let's first send Rapper and 𝐻𝐿𝐵. Between 𝐻𝐿𝐵 shield and Rapper punches they should be able to stop him. In fact, send Irinaka as well. His mimic ability should seal the deal. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 POV They are like roaches, they keep coming, but thanks to all of the training I received they are nothing. I enter a room where there is nothing but a sword hanging on the wall. When the wall came shooting towards me, so I punched it harder than I wanted to and it imploded and I heard a scream. A guy came rushing at me throwing a ton of punches. Even before he got to me I threw one punch hard enough to knock him out and not kill him, and it was stopped by some kind of barrier. Then a part of the ceiling came rushing towards me. I jumped back and focused my scenes and I realized that I'm fighting 3 people, not 2. I look up at the ceiling and there he was. He thought that he was hiding. I leaped up, throwing one punch, knocking him out, and I threw him into a corner. I look at the 2 in front of me and I felt the anger start to build up. I need to go faster. Once again the guy charged me, throwing punch. This time I threw a very hard punch. Whatever shield was there was smashed, sending both men flying through a wall. Knocked unconscious. I close my eyes and I focus. I can feel her. She is not too far away to my left. I looked down and remembered my training and let my real weight hit the floor, and the floor buckled. It couldn't support my weight. I fell through it. I was now in the tunnels. But I could smell my little Mochi and I knew that Eri was with her. 𝐻𝐿𝐵 POV I hold Eri close to me when we heard a loud crash. Eri POV Mommy, what's that sound? 𝐻𝐿𝐵 POV I can feel 𝐒𝐿𝐵 coming for us. I can feel his rage and his fear. I begin to weep without realizing it. Eri POV Mommy, are we going to be okay? Why are you crying? 𝐻𝐿𝐵 POV I'm sorry baby, I didn't realize I was crying. It's your daddy, he is coming and right now he is scared that he isn't going to get to us in time. I scream out to him so that he knows where we are. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 POV I can feel her. Instead, if running through the maze I start running through the walls. Until I hear 𝐻𝐿𝐵 call out. I stop and tell them to get away from the wall and duck behind something. 𝐻𝐿𝐵 POV we flipped the bed and grabbed the small table and placed it behind the bed and went under it. I yelled out okay. The wall shattered and a very angry 𝐒𝐿𝐵 was standing there. When Eri and I got out from under the table, the next thing I felt was me in his arms. He was squeezing Eri and I. I looked at him and he was crying. He smiled at us and asked us if we were okay. Izuku POV, did he hurt you in any way? Ochako PV, no he didn't touch either of us. Izuku PV, we need to leave and right now. I don't care how much of the building gets destroyed. I wrap my wings around them both and start to fully shift. Overhaul POV, what is going on? We need to get out of here. The building feels like it's about to collapse. Then I see it for a second, but this can't be right. It was green and its eye was huge. It looked almost lizard-like and it saw me too. This isn't over, I'll get my revenge. Then I fled. Izuku POV, as the building collapsed around me I saw him, but I need to get my family out of here first. Once again I heard gunfire. I whipped my tail to the ground and the ground shook. I spread my wings and the villains started to run out of fear. I lifted my head and looked around and then I roared. When I saw that it was safe, I gently lift Ochako and Eri to the street. As I look at them I could see the look on Eri's face. It was a look of wonder and awe. I see the heroes starting to arrive. I lower them and think to them, it will be okay because I'm here. Then I start to phase back to normal size. Izuku POV, the heroes caught a lot of villains but Overhaul got away. Momo and Ochako's dad arrived with the police. Momo ran and jumped onto me, hugging me and crying. Momo POV, why do you always have to scare me? Why didn't you ask for my help? Why did I have to hear about it from the teachers? Don't you trust me? Eri POV, Mommy Momo, I'm sorry, it's my fault. The bad man took me and Mommy Ochako and Daddy got scared and came for us. I'm sorry. Momo POV just called me Mommy. Pull her into a hug and start to crying. It's not your fault. Did you just call me Mommy? Izuku POV, all I could do was smile as I heard Eri tell Momo yes. I looked over to Ochako and saw her being hugged by her father. I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was All Might. He looked around and was shocked that I leveled the Yakuza hideout. All Might P. Young Midoriya, I can't believe that you did all of this in under 30 minutes. We really need to talk about it when we get back to UA. Izuku P. Okay All Might, I'll tell you everything. I felt another hand on my shoulder. When I turned around to see who it was, Ochako's dad grabbed me and pulled me into a hug. He was crying while he thanked me for saving his baby. When I pulled back, Eri came running to me and told me that she knew I was coming for her. I will always come for you, my little rabbit, but I think it's time for us to leave. I want to get you home. I've missed you and I need to talk with both of your moms. Eri POV, you're not mad at me, are you? Izuku POV, no baby, I'm not mad at you. This isn't your fault and it's Daddy's job to protect his children. Let's go home. Ochako's dad offered to take us home, but All Might said he would take us. The police were finishing up with criminals when we left. As we traveled home, Eri fell asleep in my lap. I know that the nightmares would start again as she whimpered in her sleep. Ochako also fell asleep. I could see All Might smile as he looked at me as through the mirror. He told me that we would talk tomorrow along with the Principal Nezu and Mr. Aizawa. As we pulled into UA and went over to my house, I gently passed Momo Eri and I picked up Ochako and carried her inside. As I laid Ochako next to Eri, they began to snuggle with each other. I looked over to Momo and asked her to join me in the living room. Momo POV, as we entered the living room I could see the look of intensity on his face. He asked me to sit down. He began to tell me everything. From how he met the dragon to his very intense training. I was shocked to hear him tell me this. Now it made sense when I was told to add a separate room in the basement. He apologized to me again for not telling me sooner. All I could do is get up and hug him. I held him tightly and I told him that I forgave him. That I wasn't mad at him, I was hurt that he didn't ask for my help. I also told him how much I missed him. Izuku POV, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders when I pulled out of the hug. Momo looked at me and then she asked me how I was feeling. Now that I'm back in our home I can feel the day's stress hitting me. I told her the truth, I'm tired but I'm better. I'm glad to have my complete family home. Momo POV, my complete family. Izuku P, yes, if you were the one taken I would have gone to save you also. Momo, I love you. If someone were to take you from me I would search the ends of the earth to find you. I wouldn't rest until I bring you home. Momo POV, all I could do after hearing this was hug and kiss him. Izuku, let's go to bed, I know you're going to have an early morning. Izuku POV, I need a shower first, would you like to join me? Momo POV, I would love to join you. Izuku POV, as we entered the bedroom Ochako woke up. She saw us headed to the bathroom and asked if she could join us. I smiled at her and said yes. She put the pillow in 𝐂𝐻𝐸's arms and she joined us. We left the door slightly open so if 𝐂𝐻𝐸 woke up we would know. As I looked at the two appealing women strp in front of me I could feel my face go red. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 POV baby, as many times as you have seen us naked you're still blushing. 𝐒𝐻𝐸 POV, when 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 called me out on my blushing it made my blush go deeper. When I looked back at them they were completely naked and walking to the large shower. I got undressed and joined them. As I entered the shower they began washing me. I could feel my stress wash away. I feel like the luckiest man on this earth and my head began to swim. We heard whimpers from the bedroom. 𝐂𝐻𝐸 was starting to cry. I looked at my girls and said a daddy's job is never done. I stepped out of the shower, dried off and went to 𝐂𝐻𝐸's side. As soon as I sat by her she hugged me. As the girls entered into the room they smiled as they saw 𝐂𝐻𝐸 holding on to me and crawled into bed with us, and we all passed out from the stress of the day. 𝐒𝐻𝐸, it was great to be home even though last night was rough. 𝐂𝐻𝐸 woke up 3 times screaming and crying. When she realized she was home she would calm down and I would hold her and she would go back to sleep. I still woke up early. I knew what was coming so I got dressed, and as I opened the door 𝐿𝐼𝐻 was getting ready to knock. 𝐿𝐼𝐻 POV, good morning young Midoriya, how is 𝐂𝐻𝐸 doing? 𝐒𝐻𝐸 POV, it was rough. She had nightmares. She would wake up screaming and crying. 𝐿𝐼𝐻, I saw 𝐿 and I really wanted to hurt him. If it wasn't for me holding on to 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 and 𝐴 I would have gone after him and I would have hurt him. Every time I look at 𝐻𝐸 and I see her scars it makes me so angry. I've never felt like this before. How do you deal with the anger? 𝐿𝐼𝐻 POV, young Midoriya, being a hero isn't easy, but the anger you're feeling isn't because 𝐿𝐻𝐸 is a villain. The anger you're feeling is because of who he hurt. You care for the 𝐻𝐸 as if she was yours. So your feelings are going to be stronger, but don't let your anger cloud your judgment. You're way too powerful. If you lose control you could level a city. Then you would drown in guilt. 𝐒𝐸 POV, as I listened to my mentor we arrived at Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐸's office. Mr. Aizawa, Midnight and Principal 𝐻𝐻𝐸 were there. 𝐿𝐼𝐻 put his hand on my shoulder and told me to tell them everything. I took a deep breath and began telling them everything. 𝐵akugo POV, as I step outside of the dorms I saw Deku walking with 𝐿𝐼𝐻, which really sessed me off. I could crush him like a bug, but the symbol of peace seems to spend more time with him than he does with anyone else in our class. As I head to class I can see round face and ponytail walking with that little girl. Deku gets 2 of the hottest girls in our class, plus he goes for a month for specialized training. I'll show him where he really stands compared to me. Plus I still owe him for the sucker punch he gave me. 𝐒𝐸 POV, when I finished with the debriefing I could see the look of concern on all of their faces. Principal 𝐻𝐻𝐸 said that he wanted to test my skills and my strength and my fighting prowess. He told me that he was going to gather the staff he needed and test my growth. 𝐻𝐻𝐸 POV, Mr. Aizawa, he isn't allowed to fight any of the other students for now. Not until we can assess how strong he really is and how much control I have. Mr. Aizawa POV, they are practicing ultimate moves right now, so other than select student there is no sparing. 𝐻𝐻𝐸 POV, good, in fact please contact 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐻, I want to test some of his growth while his class is doing their training. We're headed to test 𝐸𝐸 so we can be alone. I'm going to reach out to a couple of heroes gang: Orca, Rabbit Hero Mako, Dragoon Hero Ryukyu and Flame Hero Endeavor. 𝐒𝐸𝐻 POV, Principal 𝐻𝐻𝐸, can I please bring 𝐸𝐻𝐸 with me? I'll feel better if she is close to me. I know it's a selfish request, but she had nightmares last night and she feels better when I'm around. I promise to be careful if she joins us. 𝐻𝐻𝐸 POV, Aizawa, please bring 𝐸𝐻𝐸 and both of her moms. I'm sure they would also like to see his training results. Midoriya, you're mistaken about one thing. This isn't about you being careful right now, it's about seeing how destructive you can be first. Then we will test how careful you can be next. Mr. Aizawa P, right, I'll return shortly. I'll have ectoplasm train the class and I'll ask 13 to fill in for me. 𝐵akugo POV, Mr. Aizawa walked into class late just to tell us to get ready for more training at the gym. But he called out round face and ponytail and they took the little girl with them. Hey Mr. Aizawa, don't those 2 need to train? They are already so weak. Mr. Aizawa POV, shouldn't you be concentrating on your training? And before you call them weak, just remember this: one of them beat you in the team combat. Before I forget, 𝐒𝐻𝐸, please grab Midoriya's hero costume. 𝐸𝐸 POV, I get to see Daddy train. Mommy, did you hear that? I get to see Daddy train. 𝐵akugo POV, that really got me angry. I got called out on my loss and now Deku is doing some kind of personnel training that only the 2 girls and the brat get to see. This is really *ing me off. This is bullshit. He is gone for a month and now he is training one his own. I'll show him his place. I've been working on a few techniques that I'll try out on him. Izuku POV. Once I got my costume, Principal Nezu told me what he wanted me to do first was a speed test, then a strength test, then a destruction test, then an actual combat test against a couple of heroes. He told me not to worry about anyone getting hurt. They were going to be in the monitoring room, which is in a safe location outside of the city. I'll get to really how much I've grown. Monitoring room. As the heroes arrived, they saw Izuku on the monitors and they asked why a child and 2 students were here watching. Principal Nezu explained everything. Eri recognized Ryukyu and smiled at her. Once everyone was settled, Izuku was told to sprint to the end of the town at his top speed. What happened next shocked us all. He vanished from sight. The vacuum from his speed pulled objects behind him, including the overpass when he shot by it. For his strength test, he was told to make 𝐶𝐶mentos going straight through his walls. Izuku made it look like he was going through wet paper walls when he tapped 𝐶𝐶mentos. The heroes were all in a state of shock. This wasn't the Izuku they remembered. They couldn't believe his growth. Principal Nezu asked 𝐶𝐶mentos to leave the city and told Midoriya to get ready. The robots were going after him and they were going to use live rounds like the criminals did when I rescued Eri. What the heroes saw happen not only impressed them, it also scared them. Izuku POV. The robots started to pour out onto the streets. 1, 2, and 3 pointers. They were fast, bursting through walls and speeding around corners. I did a partial shift, hardening my scales, and I released my wings and my tail. That's when the first volley of bullets hit me. Then I went to work. I leaped up and allowed my weight to become a factor, dropping like a bomb on a cluster of robots. Sprinting out while using OFA, I started plowing into the robots, shattering them like toys. I tried to keep collateral damage down. Until I heard the collapse of a building. It was a 0-pointer. It started to point some kind of cannon at me when I launched myself like a bullet, going through its chest and landing a block behind it. That's when I heard Principal Nezu saying that I did well. Now for my final test, I was going to fight 3 heroes at once. This was going to test my restraint. Bahamut POV. Tanwen, Delinda and I were watching the young one fight. Bahamut POV. Tanwen, Delinda and I were watching the young one fight. I could see the pride in their eyes. They saw the student that they helped train fight. So far he fought smart and efficiently. He did a partial shift against the machines. Now we were going to watch him fight other humans. I couldn't wait to see how much control he has gained in such a short PRD of time. APV. I saw my daddy change and he looked scary. He didn't get as big as he did last time, but he was still scary. When I looked up to my moms, they were both staring with their mouths open. I called out to Mommy Momo and she didn't hear me at first. When she finally heard me, I asked her if she was okay. She told me yes and that she never saw my daddy look like that. Mommy Ochako agreed he didn't look human. He looked like a lizard man with wings, unforgiving and very strong. Nezu POV. Gang Orca, Dragoon Hero Ryukyu and Flame Hero Endeavor. Please join Izuku on the training grounds. Let's see how he does with human opponents. I push the MIC button and tell Izuku that 3 heroes are entering the training area. They will be acting as villains and will be trying to get revenge for me defeating their friends. Izuku POV. I can see the flames of Endeavor speeding towards me. I can also see 2 others behind him. I decided to rush them to try to catch them off guard, and it worked. Endeavor had just jumped, being propelled forward by his flames, and I ducked underneath him, trying to reach the 2 slower ones behind him. The Dragoon Hero barely managed to shift in time to block my punch. It was a soft punch, strong enough to break some bone but not strong enough to kill. During my training I learned the difference. She caught my punch and stared at me for a second. She looked stunned. I took advantage of her surprise and pulled her in and hip-tossed her hard to the ground. Then I got hit with a sound that made me drop to a knee. It was Gang Orca. I focused and leaped into the air, spreading my wings and flying 2 blocks past Gang Orca. As soon as I landed, I spun around. Endeavor was there, shooting flames at my face. I blocked it with my wing and lunged at him. He tried to dodging to the left. He was quick, but compared to my trainers he moved like a normal person. I grabbed his arm and used his momentum against him, throwing him at wall. The Dragoon Hero caught him and both hit the wall, but with much less force. I saw Gang Orca running towards us. I went after the Dragoon Hero. She dropped Endeavor as I hit her with a shoulder block that knocked her through the wall. I used my body to shield Endeavor from the falling debris from the building. I shifted back into my normal form and used OFA and shot towards Gang Orca and began my assault. I didn't dare do this in my dragon form out of fear that I might kill him. He wasn't quick enough to defend against me. When he dropped to his knee I turned back and saw Endeavor getting ready to attack. I leaped out of the way, and when he saw 𝐿 he didn't release his attack. I shot around the corner of the building, then I heard the speakers come to life saying the training was over. Viewing room 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐺 and the rabbit hero and Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿 were in awe. A child was holding his own against veteran heroes. Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿 pressed the mic button and said, "Please stop the training." Then he looked at the other students. "Please keep what you saw here a secret." He spoke back into the mic heroes, "Please exit the training arena." Endeavor helped 𝐿 up and the dragoon hero came out from under the rubble and they began to leave the arena. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 looked at Momo. She saw the look on her face. She looked pale. She also looked the same. She was taken by surprise when she heard Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿 say, "Please change into full dragon form." eri screamed out, "I want to see my daddy, please, I need to see him now." The rabbit hero looked at her and tried to comfort her, but eri started to cry. Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿 asked the rabbit hero to take her. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 I walked towards the outer gate and shifted. I saw a form moving to me quickly. It was the rabbit hero Mako and she was carrying something. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 I walked towards the outer gate and shifted. I saw a form moving to me quickly. It was the rabbit hero Mako and she was carrying something. She was carrying a. My heart dropped. Did something go wrong? When I jerked my head up she froze. 𝐿𝐵 he jerked his head up and my blood ran cold. All of my senses are telling me to run. I can feel his stare. I slowly put the girl down and slowly back away. She starts running to him and he lowered his head. She ran to his face and hugged his jaw. Bahamut POV Tanwen, Delinda, you have trained him well, you should be proud. We'll continue to watch over him. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 I think to A and tell her that I'm alright as she hugged my lower jaw and I start to shift. I place my massive arms around her and gently pull her in as I shrink. I tell her how much I love her. I'm sorry if I scared you, baby. I'll try not to scare you anymore, okay, my little rabbit. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 I put my little rabbit down and told her I need to change. How about I take you back to your mommies? After class we'll do something special just to make you happy. How does that sound? eri POV You promise, daddy. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 I promise, but let's hurry. Do you want for me to carry you and run, or would you like to fly with me? 𝐒𝐵 Really, I want to fly, but not too high, okay? I think that might be a little scary. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 Okay, my little rabbit, turn around and let me hold you. When she turned from me I pick her up from behind in a backwards hug, release my wings and lift off. She squealed in delight. As we flew to the monitoring room. Once we got there I put eri down and she ran to 𝐒𝐿𝐵 and Momo. eri POV Mommy, I got to fly with daddy. It was fun. I was a little scared at first, but it was fun as the wind was in my face. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 POV I looked at her and smiled and said, I haven't even flown with your daddy yet. Then I shot 𝐒𝐿𝐵 a look that let him know that I'm going to be the next one to fly with him. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 POV I saw the look 𝐒𝐿𝐵 gave me as I left to change. I think I need to take her and Momo for a flight before they beat me up. But first things first, I need to do something for the three of them. I've been gone for what seems like forever. Plus I need to give Momo and eri a tear gem so that I can find them. Once I was done changing, then girls were waiting for me by the bus. When we got inside I asked Momo to book a room for us at that karaoke place we went to last time. Momo POV Really, I'll make the arrangements. Do you want me to invite anyone else from our class? 𝐒𝐿𝐵 I don't want to sound selfish, but I just want it to a family thing, just you, 𝐒𝐿𝐵, eri and myself. I've really missed you and I want it to be all about us. Momo POV Okay honey, I'll make the phone call. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 Once we returned to class I was overwhelmed with everyone asking me how I was doing and trying to figure out what I did for the month I was gone. Some of the class suggested we do something special. I smiled and told them not today, I have something planned with my family. Once class was over we went home and got ready for tonight. I told the girls I had something to take care of and went into the room in the basement. I had a gold hoard inside of it. I had asked Bahamut to help me forge 2 rings and 1 pendant when I was training with him. I found them in a box set apart from the rest of the gold and gems. I focused my thoughts when I worked on their gift. Each was a powerful thought, a special moment that I shared with them. So I will always know which gem belonged each of my girls. 𝐒𝐿𝐵's was when I opened my eyes that fateful night and she looked into them. Momo's was when she looked at me and told me all she wanted from me was my love. 𝐒𝐿𝐵's was when she called me daddy for the first time. Once I set then stones, I placed them in my pocket and went to join my girls. The girls' POV: when we arrived at karaoke barn we could see Izuku looking happy and a little nervous. But he asked for us to sit and stood in front of us. Izuku POV: I have a gift for each of you, it's a special gift, I hope that you like it. I gave 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻 her ring first and she began to cry. I gave Momo her ring next and she also began to cry. I gave Eri her pendant and her eyes glowed, she was so happy. Each looked at their gift at the gem and Momo said it was the most appealing emerald she's ever seen. I corrected her, it's not an emerald, it's my tear. Each one it crafted from a memory special to each of you. I hope that you love it as much as I love each of you. Eri POV: Daddy, you treat me good, I've only caused you and my mommy's trouble, I don't think I deserve this. Izuku POV: I picked the pendant up from her hand and I put it on her and kissed her forehead. You have been a blessing, you have done nothing but bring joy to my life. You're the main reason this family is together today. I love you with all of my heart and I know that both 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻 and Momo feel the same way. You make me want to be the best dad in the world, please let me sing you a song. It's for my daughter by Kane Brown. Momo POV: my heart is going to burst. First I get the appealing ring from Izuku, then I hear him tell Eri how he feels. I can't take it, how is he so kind, he told us about his past and now this song. I want to see him raise our children, I'd give him as many as he wants. 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻 POV: a ring made of gold and his tear, a part of him that will always be with me. I want to give him a part of me to always be with him, a child, so he could love it as much as he loves us. I need to talk with him about it. Izuku POV: when I was done singing to Eri she was hugging me crying. This was the first time that she was crying, not because she was in pain or scared or because of a nightmare. She was crying because she was happy. A few seconds later I felt Momo and 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻 join us in our hug. And I felt like the luckiest man in the world. When we released the hug I looked into Eri's amber eyes when she told me that she's so happy that I'm her dad. Overhaul POV: listen Tomura Shigaraki, I will compensate you for this, the money I will make once I retrieve the girl will be well worth the efforts, but recently I was raided and lost a huge number of my forces. I would like for you to loan me some of your assets so that I can kill a certain boy who is protecting the young girl. Shigaraki POV: I heard that only one person attacked your hideout. Not only did he go in solo, your people couldn't stop him. He also took back the girls that you kidnapped. Overhaul POV: who told you this? Shigaraki POV: you're not the only one with resources. Tell me, why should I risk my operatives for a girl? Why is she worth so much to you? Your answer will dictate how the rest of this conversation goes. If I think it's worth the risk I'll loan you some assets. Overhaul POV: find the girl's quirk is key for my project. It will allow me to completely erase a person's quirk. I will be able to market bullets that will erase a hero's quirk, and I have the only antidote that will give the quirk back. I'll be making money off both criminals who want to erase a quirk and heroes who wants their quirk back. Shigaraki POV: don't you mean we will be making money? I will loan you some of my assets. When will you be needing them? Overhaul POV: it will be soon, very soon. I need them to be very strong. The boy is a lot stronger than what he looks. He took bullets, quirks, and went through concrete like it was nothing. Shigaraki POV: really, he didn't look that strong when I met him. But if he's really that strong, I know one person that he won't beat in a power contest. MSTR told me that he is power that I could use in dire circumstances. Gigantamaquia is very powerful. The only people I think could beat him is MSTR and All Might. The other is twice. He has a very useful power. He is his own army when needed. Overhaul POV: I need a week to make my preparations. Please ensure that they are ready. I'll reach out to the boy. I know he'll show up alone. He has a bad case of hero sickness and I know exactly how to exploit him. Izuku POV: the rest of the evening was nice. We all sang and ate and I was reminded why I left and trained as hard as I did. So that I could be strong enough to protect my loved ones and be the hero that can make everyone feel safe. 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻 POV: as I look at Deku my heart just melts. How can someone who had it so hard growing up become such a good man? I can see how Eri looks at him. She trusts him to save her. I need to get stronger to be there to protect him. To help make him feel safe when times are tough. Momo POV: as I look at Eri smiling at Izuku, I can't help myself. I want a child with him so bad. I want my children to feel the love he is giving her. I can imagine him with them playing and taking care of them. When I look at 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻 I can see the look of woman with a lot on her mind. 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻: is everything okay? 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐻 POV: sorry, I got caught up in a thought. Izuku POV: well, I'm ready to go home. We still have to get ready for school tomorrow. But I'm so happy to have my family with me tonight. Let's go home. Momo POV I'll call a cab. Izuku POV Once we got home I told Eri to go take a shower. She hugged my leg and went to her room and got ready for her shower. 𝐒𝐿𝐵, can you tell me what you were thinking about earlier? 𝐒𝐿𝐵 POV To be honest with you, I feel weak. I need to get stronger. I got kidnapped and needed you to save me. I couldn't protect Eri and I feel horrible about it. Momo POV 𝐒𝐿𝐵 You got hit with a tranquilizing dart. There was nothing you could have done. Izuku POV 𝐒𝐿𝐵 You're one of the strongest people I know. You saved me from the loneliest point of my life. Then you volunteered to raise a child with me. If that doesn't speak of a strong woman, I don't know what does. Momo POV You also did very well with your fight with Bakugo and he is second only to Izuku. You shouldn't doubt yourself. Eri POV Daddy, I'm done. Will you tuck me in please? Izuku POV Okay my little rabbit. I was surprised that she didn't want to sleep with us. I kiss 𝐒𝐿𝐵 on her forehead and go with Eri to her room. As she crawled into bed she told me that she had fun and she loved my song. I asked her was she sure that she wanted to sleep alone. She said yes because I would always find her. I pick up one of her favorite books. It was by Dr. Seuss, Green Eggs and Ham. As I began to read she started to doze off. I kissed her forehead and as I get ready to leave I turn around to look at her one last time and smile as I close the door. Momo POV To be honest with you 𝐒𝐿𝐵 I felt weak also when I thought I was going to be crushed and Izuku had to save me. It gave me nightmares. I felt powerless and he took the blow that was meant to kill me. When I saw him fight the robots and the heroes I can't compare to that. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 POV Momo When he saved me I felt his fear. I saw it in his eyes. I don't ever want to see or feel him like that again. But I don't know how to get to his level, but I don't ever want to be the reason that he feels like that ever again. I need to get stronger if only for his sake, to be strong enough to stand by his side. Momo POV No 𝐒𝐿𝐵 We need to get stronger. We'll do it together so that he will never have to stand alone again. Izuku POV As I walk back into my room I see 𝐒𝐿𝐵 and Momo talking and I ask is everything alright? The girls both turn and look at me and I can see the look of uncertainty and determination. They both asked me to train with them both in hand-to-hand and with using their quirks. I agreed to starting tomorrow after school. I still have my morning training to keep up with. But for tonight I asked if we could just lay down and let me enjoy being with them. I laid down, I released my wings and the girls snuggled into me and I wrapped my wings around us. As I drifted off I was taken back to when the building was crumbling and I saw him. The man who hurt Eri and had the nerve to take my woman and Eri from me. I will find him. I will get overhaul. Izuku POV As we arrived to our classroom this morning I heard Taisu ask about what we did yesterday. Eri was so excited to tell her that she went to a karaoke place and got to sing for the first time. All of a sudden I felt all of the girls in our class staring at me. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 and Momo both told the girls that we needed some family time. I called Eri over to me so she could get started with her schoolwork. As Mr. Aisawa walked in he was followed by 3 other students I didn't know. Eri got up and hid behind me. She still doesn't do well with strangers. Mr. Aisawa introduced them as the big 3, the top students in the senior class. Mirio Tagata, Nejiya Heido and Tamaki Imagiki are the strongest of the school and they were going to talk to us. Nejiya saw Eri squealed and was headed straight to her. I felt Eri's hand squeeze my side and I got up asking my senior to stop. She looked at Eri and saw how nervous she looked and the look of concern on my face and apologized. I picked Eri up and sat her on my lap as we listened to Mirio talk. Mirio POV I can see the look on Mr. Aisawa and I need to get their attention fast before he gets even angrier than normal. I challenged to take them all on in a fight. I heard that one of them was a real monster in a fight. We changed and got to the gym and I told them to get ready. Then I said begin and I used my quirk and saw the explosion, lasers, ice and tape. Like materials fly through my body and I begin to take down Class 1A. Bakugo POV I hit him with an explosion that should have knocked him through a wall but there was nothing there. He came up out of the ground and hit me in the gut hard and he melted back into the ground. I saw him taking my classmates down quickly. I tried to get back up but I wasn't expecting the punch and I got the air knocked out of me. When I saw him attack Deku and then I saw what looked like a static discharge and Miro went down. I thought only Kaminari could use electricity in our class. Deku has been sandbagging that BSTRD. He was the last one in our class standing. That's as I'm going to beat Deku senseless. He got lucky and was attacked last and now he looks like he is the strongest in the class. Now the class is congratulating him for beating 𝐒𝐿. 𝐒𝐿, the one with the green hair, is fast. He predicted where I would show up and attacked. I almost got him, but he passed through me too quickly, so I went after his classmates. After I dropped them all, I went after him, and when my foot went solid to kick him, I felt the electricity course through me and I dropped. I underestimated him and I paid for it. I thought he was a speed guy type with as fast he was moving. 19 out of 20 isn't bad. I got up and spoke with the class and explained to them how I was able to take down the majority of them. 𝐒𝐿 POV, I was really impressed by 𝐒𝐿 on how fast he took down most of the class. I only got lucky due to my speed. I was able to time my attack just right. That didn't stop the class from mobbing me after the fight. After class, the girls and I began our training in our backyard. First was the improving our strikes by practicing our form. I even let 𝐿𝐼 join us while we were practicing our form. I told her she wasn't allowed to practice in the actual fighting until she got a little older. 𝐿𝐼𝐸 and 𝐿𝐺𝐻 were practicing when 𝐿𝐺𝐻 asked me when were we going to start sparring. I told her that first we were going to reinforce the basics through repetition. Then we were going to move into sparring. After that we were going to fight in earnest. I saw Bakugo come around the corner with Maylist in his eyes. Bakugo POV, Deku, follow me right now. We need to talk. 𝐒𝐿 POV Kaken, I'm busy right now, maybe some other time. In the corner of my eye I can see 𝐿𝐼 hiding behind 𝐿𝐼𝐸. Kaken, you're scaring 𝐿𝐼, please calm down and leave. Bakugo POV, I don't care about your little brat, come fight. I didn't see him move, but I felt him grab my chest and jump, and we flew past the tree line when he threw me. I use my explosions to control my landing. Now I'm going to show him his place. 𝐒𝐿 POV, I heard him call 𝐿𝐼 a brat and I lost it. I activated OFA and grabbed him and leaped towards the forest, and then I threw him. I don't want to fight him, but I will not allow him to insult my family. Kaken, I'm going to give you one chance to apologize to 𝐿𝐼. Momo POV, 1 second. Bakugo called 𝐿𝐼 a brat, then next both 𝐒𝐿 and Bakugo were gone. We need to get a teacher, I told 𝐿𝐼𝐸, or this is going to get ugly. Take 𝐿𝐼 inside, I'll get Mr. Aizawa. Bakugo POV, or what? Do you honestly think you can beat me? You're still Deku the loser. It will take you 1,000 lifetimes to beat me. But if you beg for my forgiveness, I just might let this slide. But don't think I'm going to tell your brat. He punched me in my mouth so fast I didn't see him move. I caught a glimpse of him returning and hit him with my howitzer attack that should slow him down. He busted through my attack like it was nothing. I leaped out of the way just before he could hit me again, then he stopped. I grinned, this is going to be a real fight. I sprint towards him using my explosions to propel me forward. He stood there when I threw my first punch and he shifted slightly and I missed. I opened my palm and let a small explosion hit him. 𝐒𝐿 POV, he punch missed, but the explosion to the ear didn't. My ear was ringing and now I got angry. Time to go on the offensive. I dropped down and threw a sweeping kick to take his feet from underneath him. He leaped into the air and used his explosions to give him a little distance. I use OFA and leap after him, and as he spun in the air I grabbed him and threw him back to the ground hard this time. I heard the wind get knocked out of him and I turn up my weight and land about 10 feet away from him and made a small crater. I saw a look on his face that I never saw before, doubt mixed in with a little fear. Kaken, quit now before I have to hurt you. I'm not the person you used to know. Don't make me hurt you. Bahamut POV, I felt the anger and I opened a rift and saw the young one squaring off with his rival. I called Tanwen and Delinda to watch. I want to see what he does. Bakugo POV, I saw him land and he made a fin crater and was walking out of it like it was nothing. This can't be right. I won't hold back this time. I will not lose to him again. I'm the best and now he is going to learn. I launched towards him. I have to hit him hard. My last attack didn't even slow him down. 𝐒𝐿 POV, I reinforced my skin with my scales just to be safe. When he came at me he began swinging, but compared to my teachers he is slow. I begin dodging them, but Kaken is smart and he began letting off explosions with his punches, big ones at that. I don't want to do this, but he's not going to stop until I stop him. Kaken, I tried to warn you, but you're leaving me no choice. Let's see if you can take what you like to dish out. Bakugo POV, bring it on Deku. This time he came at me, but he was walking. I couldn't help myself. I grinned and hit him with a blast that should land him in the infirmary, but he continued forward like it was nothing. How can you take a blast like that? You're mocking me. You think you're better than me. I'll show you who's the best. Screw it. If you can take a howitzer blast, taste my AP shot. I focus my blast at his legs. I don't want to kill him, but I won't lose. They can fix broken legs. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I felt the hit from his AP shot on my legs, but due to my now increased weight and my scales it felt like a kitten rubbing out against my leg. 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐵 you can't hurt me anymore even with your best shots, I barely even feel them. I know you won't beat me in a fight with me using my quirk because you won't be able to keep up with my or withstand my punches. I don't even think you could beat me in a normal fist fight anymore, but I welcome you to try. 𝐵𝐵 shut up, dude, I'll kill you. I focus my AP shot center mass and I put every last bit of power I have into it. Let's see you take this one, and I let loose my strongest blast. I feel his hands grab my chest and he head-butted me, my vision hazed up. Then I felt the assault on my chest, it came so fast I couldn't block it. Then he followed up with a hook to my jaw. Instead of stopping he followed through, spinning. I barely got my arm up and caught his elbow strike. I felt something snap. I scream out in anger and in pain. I tried to knee him but he sidestepped it. He punched my inner thigh and my leg buckled. 𝐒𝐭𝐴𝐵 I felt something snap in this arm but he still tried to attack me. He threw a sloppy knee strike. I sidestepped it and punched his inner thigh and he went down. I backed up and looked at him. 𝐿𝐴𝐴 if you ever insult my family again I will not hold back anymore. I don't care if you insult me, leave them out of it. He raised his hand and let out another explosion. I activated OFA and punched him in the face, knocking him out cold. I felt horrible. Why does he hate me? Why couldn't he just let it go? I just want to be happy with my family. I walk over to him and begin to heal him. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 POV as Yorozu and I ran towards the forest. We heard loud explosions and we began to run faster. Then it went silent. I felt a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach. When we arrived I saw Midoriya kneeling over Bakugo chanting something. Midoriya, what are you doing? 𝐒𝐭𝐴𝐵 I'm healing him, Mr. 𝐈𝐴𝐲, I'm almost done. Please allow me to finish. I heard the sounds of rushing footsteps and then an embrace. I turned my head and saw Momo holding me. I dropped my head in shame. I'm sorry for losing control, I know better, please forgive me. When I finished I got up. Momo never left my side and told me I had nothing to be sorry about. You defended your family. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 POV when did you learn to heal people? 𝐒𝐭𝐴𝐵 it was the first thing I learned when I began my training. They taught me that I need to have compassion or I'll become just as bad as the people that I'm trying to stop. Mr. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 I healed all of his injuries but none of the effects. He is going to be in pain for the next couple of days. Bahamut PV I'm impressed he embraced what I taught him. He fought smart, he wasn't cruel, and then he healed him. You girls did a wonderful job. I think this one will be alright and I think the is going to back into heat soon. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 POV wait, you can heal the effects of the injuries also. 𝐒𝐭𝐴𝐵 yes I can. I broke his nose and his arm and I bruised the bone in his left leg. I fixed them but I didn't heal the muscle around it. He will be in pain until those injuries heal. I didn't want him to try to attack me again. 𝐈𝐴𝐵 Momo take problem child away from here. Midoriya you will go see recovery girl first, then you will wait for me by Principal Nezu's office. Now go, I have to deal with this one now. I watched them leave and I woke Bakugo up. He sat up and tried to hit me with an explosion. I cancelled it with my quirk. He looked confused. Bakugo POV I woke up to someone slapping my face and tried to hit them with an explosion. But nothing. Then I see Mr. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 and knew I was in trouble. My face hurt, my arm hurt, my leg hurt. But nothing felt broken. Mr. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 looked at me and asked me why did I provoke Midoriya. Mr. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 Bakugo you will tell me or you will pack your bags, those are your choices. 𝐒𝐭𝐴𝐵 POV we arrived at recovery girl's office and she gave me the once-over. Then I went to Principal Nezu's office and sat down outside the office waiting for Mr. 𝐈𝐴𝐲. When he arrived 𝐿𝐴𝐴 was walking with him. I saw the venom in his two swollen eyes. I got up and all three of us entered the office. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 POV 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐴 did you throw the first punch? 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐴 POV yes I did. 𝐈𝐴𝐲 POV Bakugo the only reason you're not getting expelled is because 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐴 threw the first punch. 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐴 even though you were defending your family you didn't have to resort to violence. Both of you are under house arrest. Midoriya for 3 days, Bakugo for 4 days, being that you started it. Bakugo if you pull the same stunt again you will be expelled. Now get out of here both of you. 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐴 I kissed the girls goodbye this morning as they left for school. Eri wanted to stay with me but I explained to her that she couldn't miss school because I did. She didn't like the answer but she left with Ochako and Momo. I went into the basement and went into the room with my gold and I did a partial shift and I curled up into the golden gems. I closed my eyes and thought about everything that led me to this point. I thought of all of my fights, my losses, and now my family. I thought about why I got so angry so fast. I snapped when he insulted 𝐻𝐸. It made me angry. The more I thought about it, the more I remembered how I felt when I was the child that was bullied and didn't have the power to defend myself. As I thought of 𝐻𝐸, I remembered that she still doesn't have a family name. I decided to give her mine. I want to make it official. I need to talk to 𝐒𝐿 to see how she feels about it. I call my mother to see what kind of paperwork to file to make this work. 𝐒𝐿 POV. As we sit in class, I can see the sadness in 𝐻𝐸's eyes. It was like 𝐒𝐿 was gone the first time. Even though I moved her table next to mine, she missed him. Is everything all right, my little rabbit? 𝐻𝐸 POV. Mommy, why couldn't Daddy come to school today? 𝐒𝐿 POV. Daddy got into a little bit of trouble, so he won't be able to join us for 3 days. 𝐻𝐸 POV. It's because of me that he got into trouble again. He got into that fight to stop the mean guy from saying mean things to me. Mr. 𝐼𝐳𝐸, I heard what 𝐻𝐸 said and I got a little upset with myself for punishing Midoriya, but it's too late now. I go up to 𝐻𝐸 and tell her that her daddy did what good daddies do. He defended his child. It's a school policy that he also had to be punished. As I look at her and she tells me that's a silly policy. I go back to the front of the class and tell them what to expect for the day. Bakugo POV. I lost again, but this time it wasn't even a fight. I couldn't hurt him with my quirk. My punches did nothing. The only time I was able to do anything was when I caught him by surprise. He even called me out to a regular hand-to-hand fight after watching him fight that hero. I don't think I could beat him. What am I doing wrong? How did a weakling get so far ahead of me? I won't lose to him. I'll start with hand-to-hand, then I'll work on my quirk. The next time I will beat him. I have to. Momo POV. I went over to 𝐒𝐿 and 𝐻𝐸 and asked, are you ready for lunch? As we were leaving the room, we were stopped by the rest of the class asking about the fight. I looked to 𝐒𝐿 and she was holding 𝐻𝐸's hand. I took 𝐻𝐸's other hand and said we weren't allowed to talk about it. Tsuyu started to walk with us. This isn't unusual for her, but this time too I could see that she had been deep in thought. Then she looked at me and asked me how was Deku taking being punished. The question threw me off. I didn't think about that. He always seems so happy. Tsuyu POV. I couldn't help myself. He always seems so happy after hearing him talk about his past and how painful it was. I just want to make sure that he is okay. It's not like him to start a fight. But I can see how much he changed since he returned from his training. Do you mind if I join you for lunch? 𝐒𝐿 POV. Sure Tsuyu, just know we're not allowed to go home for lunch. He has to be home alone, but you can join us. Izuku POV. I called my mom and she is looking into it for me. I cleaned up the house again and I'm starting to go a little stir crazy. I heard a knock on the door. It was All Might. All Might POV. Young Midoriya, how are you? I spoke with Bakugo and he told me about your fight. He said that he didn't recognize the style you used. He also said that you shouldn't have been able to take the hits he dealt you. Can you explain to me your technique and how you dealt with his power without shifting? Izuku POV. I'm going stir crazy, but I'm doing fine. When I left to train, I learned several different types of martial arts, mostly consisting of judo, combat sambo, taekwondo, jeet kune do, muay thai, krav maga. I was also taught how to use fire and electricity. I took what works best for me and use it in my fights now. Right now I've started teaching 𝐒𝐿, Momo, and 𝐻𝐸 these different fighting styles. None of what I use is pretty, but it is very effective. I didn't need to shift to fight Kaken because he isn't a threat like what I dealt with in the training area. I hardened my skin and shifted my density to counter his attacks. I used OFA to boost my speed at first, then after that I just used my technique to beat him. All Might POV. I can't believe what I'm hearing. He is on whole different level than his class and most pros. I need to talk to Principal Nezu to really test his potential and to keep him from fighting his peer group. They aren't ready for that type of fight. We teach them to capture and subdue. He learned to end fights quickly, violently, and efficiently. Okay, young Midoriya, I just wanted to hear about your side of the fight and see how you're doing. I'll see you in a couple of days. Tsuyu POV. Lunch with 𝐒𝐿 and Momo was nice. 𝐸𝐸 was sad that Izuku couldn't join us. I recommend that we go to karaoke bar when he is no longer in trouble. 𝐸𝐸's eyes got big. She got so excited and she started telling me how much fun she had when she got to sing. She told me how Izuku made her cry when he sang to her. I smiled and told her that her daddy made all the girls in our class cry when we heard him sing. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲, that sounds like fun, so I'll talk to Deku and we'll plan it out, but for now he is under house arrest. He can't even train. Mr. Aizawa was very adamant on this. We can't even talk to him about what we learned in class. Momo POV, I think the second one is going to hurt his feeling the most. But we'll find a way to take his mind off the subject. As I realized what I said, I started to blush. I look over to 𝐒𝐭𝐴 and she was blushing also. Tsuyu blushed and looked a little sad and walked away. I know that look, it was the look I had when I thought of Izuku with 𝐒𝐭𝐴. I wonder if she also has feelings for him. All Might POV, Principal Nezu, I spoke with young Midoriya and I don't think it's a good idea for him to fight with his classmates. He told me about the styles he uses and they are brutal styles and he could really hurt them. Plus it would demoralize the class if he just beats them all in a fight. We saw what he did with the pros and I believe that he was taking it easy on them. If he were to fight against his classmates it would not be pretty. Nezu POV, I have to disagree with you, All Might. I think him not training with his class would hurt him even more. This will teach him restraint at a higher level so that he won't hurt them. So when he becomes a hero he could deal with all types of opponents, not just the overpowered ones. Although I would really like to know if he was really holding back when he was fighting the pros. Please reach out to the top 5 heroes and plan for them to fight him in earnest, treat him like a villain. I also want him to fight 5 students, ones that he would have a hard time hitting, to truly test his potential. All Might POV, I'll reach out to them today and I'll plan for the fight in 4 days. That will give the heroes a chance to clear their schedule. But are you sure about the 5 students? I'll talk with Mr. Aizawa to have him pick the student for him to fight. Nezu POV, yes I am. I think that it's training that he needs. Or he will become more of a monster than the villains that he will pursue. Time skip 3 days. Izuku is back in class. Izuku, I'm so excited to go back to class. I woke up early today and began my martial arts training. During my training I felt eyes on me and I quickly turned around and I saw Eri looking at me from the porch. Eri POV, Daddy, why are you up so early training? Izuku POV, I'm sorry Eri, did I wake you? I always get up early to train, it helps clear my head before school. But I'm just about done. You want to wake up your mothers for me please? I'll be right behind you. I smile as I watch her run inside to wake up the girls. I walk into the house and I start making breakfast for my family and I hear them getting out of bed. I can't help but feel happy. After we were done eating I went and showered and the girls did the dishes. As we arrived to our classroom I apologized to our class for my actions. Then I moved Eri's desk next to mine before class started. Aizawa POV, as I entered the class I thought about my talk with All Might. I look around to decide who should Midoriya fight. It becomes painfully obvious to me the girls. He will have a very hard time having to fight a girl. The more delicate he thinks the girl is, the harder time he will have trying to fight her. I made a list for All Might and told them about the schedule for today and left. Izuku POV, after school let out the girls and I got ready for our training. Momo bought Eri a UA gym suit so they would all match. Once again I drill them on technique, not as bad as my teachers drilled me, but I made it tough. Eri is just too cute when she is striking, but she is trying her hardest. Momo and 𝐒𝐭𝐴 are starting to improve. I think in about a month they will be ready to spar. After the training was done the girls went to shower and I started preparing dinner. After dinner Eri and started doing our homework together and shortly after she was out cold. I guess the training really worn her out. I picked her up and took her to bed and tucked her in. As I walk out I see Momo and 𝐒𝐭𝐴 walking towards the bedroom, giving me the look that made my heart skip a beat. I went to the bedroom and enjoyed the rest of our night. Bakugo, I'm finally back in class and the first thing I have to see is Deku walking with his brat and round face and ponytail girl. He really sing me off. As they get seated Mr. Aizawa walked into the class and said the following: students please report to training ground. Gamma. Momo, 𝐒𝐭𝐴, Tsuyu, Toru, Kyoka. Izuku, All Might needs to see you after class. He has some questions for you. What does All Might see in him even before he left for the month and made all of his improvements? I wonder why Mina was the only girl not to get called. Izuku, I have A sitting on my lap as we ride the bus to training ground. Gamma, I wonder where the girls are. When we got to the training ground I saw All Might and Mr. Aizawa waiting for us. Mr. Aizawa called Eri over and showed her a kitten and she was off like a flash running to play with the kitten. All Might told me to change and to prepare to fight 5 criminals who just killed 1 hero and injured 3 more. I was to capture them and place them in a cell, and if I got placed in the cell I lost the fight. I changed and got ready for my fight. All Might POV. I sat with Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿 and the top 5 pro heroes. Mr. Aizawa kept Eri out of the viewing room. She didn't need to see this. Young Midoriya was walking down a street when the first attack happened. He blocked it, but the look of shock on his face said it all. 𝐒𝐿 was the attacker and he hesitated to counter when his legs were taken out by Tsuyu. He turned to try to see his new attacker when Toru redirected the light into a flash bomb, effectively blinding him. He got back onto his feet quickly, then Momo hit him with a net cannon. These girls work very well together and we all saw the hesitation in his eyes. He turned his head and saw Momo and didn't see that 𝐒𝐿 touched a small car and Tsuyu grabbed the car, swung upwards and threw it at him. 𝐭𝐽 hit him with a sound bomb that distracted him and he didn't see the car coming. Endeavor P. This isn't the same kid I fought. It can't be. The one I fought was fast, strong and was a brawler. There is no way these girls are beating him so soundly without any real effort. 𝐒𝐻𝐿 told me that it is him. We wanted to put him in a situation that he isn't accustomed to. He is a very kind person and that is his biggest weakness and the source of his strength. Hawk's POV. The car is going to kill him. We need to stop this. All Might told me to stop and just continue watching. We heard the car crash on top of him and my stomach dropped. Then I heard the car move with a crunching sound and the boy stood up. Broke the net he was in like it was made of wet paper. Izuku POV. I'm getting my butt kicked. How do I fight them without hurting them? I barely hardened my skin in time. Of that car would have crushed me. I need to move and come up with a plan. Prior to Izuku getting to the training ground. 𝐒𝐻𝐿 POV. Girls, I want you to fight Midoriya with everything you have. Don't worry about hurting him. We have Recovery Girl on standby to heal him. You're going to play the part of the villains today. I want you to put everything you have into this. I want you to really try to beat him. 𝐒𝐿 POV. Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿, I don't think that we're going to be able to hurt him even if we want to. I can see Tsuyu, Toru, and 𝐭𝐽 looking at not really believing what I just said. I've seen what he can really do and it's terrifying to say the least. It's going to be really hard to beat him. This really has to be a team effort or we will lose. Back to the fight. Izuku POV. I use OFA and leap up to get away and I got hit by a literal boulder, driving me back into the ground. They were ready for me. Think I need to get away from here. So I go through the building to get away from them and I gather my thoughts. 𝐒𝐿, Tsuyu, Momo, Toru, and 𝐭𝐽. Their attack was flawless, well thought out, each covering for the other. How do I get them into that cell without hurting them? Then I remember the fight with Miroh and I get an idea. I focus and shift my eyes. I can see them moving away from me and setting back up. Momo POV. Can any of you see him? 𝐭𝐽, can you track his sound? On it she replied, his in the building. CRP. That's not good. He has the advantage in the building. Retreat quickly, make him come to us. Headshot POV. At least he was smart enough to get away from the attackers to regroup, but other than him going through a wall he really isn't that impressive. The principal wants him to fight the 5 of us next. This will be quick. Part of the building exploded outwards and what looked like an oversized bullet shot out. Endeavor POV. This is what I expected from him from the beginning. He moved quickly. He grabbed the frog girl first and dashed away before the others could react. She was alone on the side of the building. That was smart. The girls adjusted quickly, but so did he, using his speed and surprise. That little SHT never threw punch and he eventually got them all into the cell. Picking off the long-range fighters first, then the brawlers. But I have to admit those girls did a really good job on such short notice. 𝐒𝐻𝐿 POV. This round is over. Girls, please leave the training ground. Midoriya, do you need any healing? Miruko POV. The kid had a car and a boulder dropped on him. Of course he needs some healing. I was shocked when he nodded his head no. I guess I have no reason to hold any of my punches. 𝐒𝐻𝐿 POV. I'm glad you said that, Miko. I don't want any of you to hold your punches. Hit him with all of your might. Endeavor looked at me and said I wasn't planning on it. I still owe him from the last time. Then the top 5 heroes took the field and the students entered the viewing room. Midoriya, your next opponents are the top 5 heroes. Don't use lethal force, but don't hold back. Same rules apply. They won't be holding back. Good luck. Toru POV. I can't believe he found me and grabbed me when I wasn't reflecting light. OMG, he could see me. He saw me naked, didn't he? 𝐒𝐿 answered me. He might have. I'll ask him if you want. Principal 𝐒𝐻𝐿 said, girls, please pay attention to the screens. A second later we saw pro heroes in the area, not just any heroes, the top 5, and they won't be holding back. 𝐒𝐻𝐻 POV Midoriya began walking when the first attack struck. Feathers struck him from all angles at once, then there was a shout and the feathers left. Rabbit hero Miruko was running quickly and attempted to kick him. He grabbed her leg and used her momentum against her, and through her feathers caught her and set her down. She began running at him again. Midoriya began running at her when threads wrapped around one of his legs and stopped him. 𝐵 screamed, "Now edge shot," and the ninja hero seemed to appear out of nowhere and began to fold in on himself and tried to attack Midoriya, attacking his nervous system. Midoriya let out a primal scream that shattered glass and knocked edge shot out. Deku POV After I let out a vocal attack, I shifted my density and kicked my trapped leg free. Principal Nezu said not to hold back, so I went after 𝐵. When a fire wall burned in front of me, I looked up and saw Endeavor, and I felt the kick to the back of my head. I was lucky that I shifted my density, or that kick would have knocked me out. Once again I was wrapped with threads, but this time it was covering most of my upper body. Miruko began her assault on my body. I released my wings and snapped the threads. Endeavor shouted and both 𝐵 and Miruko fled back. 𝐵 had edge shot with him. Then once again fire. I activated OFA and shot after 𝐵. He was supporting and injured comrade. Endeavor anticipated this move and leaped off his perch and attacked me. Tried to kick Endeavor when my leg was taken out from under me by feathers. I need to do something about hawks, and I thought about my training. I'll use fire. I use my falling momentum and rolled away from the building and the heroes. I leap up to my feet. I see more feathers coming at me. I release fire and mold it into a shield, and when the feathers hit they burned. Now it's time to fight fire with fire and speed. Endeavor POV Why are you playing games, boy? Show us what you can really do, or just stop. As soon as I said that, the boy was gone from my sight. It was only for a second, but that was all he needed. He punched me in the gut, then he let out a gout of fire right behind it and it burned. I saw Hawks moving in with Miruko. Both were fast, but the boy was just a little faster. He turned towards Hawk and leaped out of the way, and Miruko's kick ended up kicking Hawks in the chest, but the boy didn't turn around. He went after 𝐵, who was waiting for the right moment to strike. He sent his threads after the boy, who just sent fire right at him. He leaped out of the way, but the boy was ready. I used my fire to propel me after the boy, and I saw that Miruko was right behind me. The boy grabbed 𝐵 and threw him at Miruko, then leaped right towards me, then at the last second dodged and went after Hawks. I had too much momentum to just stop, and he went right past me, and I heard a bone-rattling crunch and Hawks was down. My burns were slowing me down, but I refused to lose to this child. 𝐒𝐻𝐻 POV Endeavor got what he asked for. The boy went after them. He is a lot stronger than what I thought, and he could mold his fire to his will, and he fights smart. As I continue to watch the boy running towards 𝐵 and Miruko and hit them with electricity, and they both dropped. Then he turned towards Endeavor and asked him to surrender, that his companions were defeated and he couldn't escape. So I stopped the fight. Then I turned to the girls and saw the look on their faces. They were all pale with shock. Endeavor POV Midoriya Why didn't you just do that before? You could have ended this fight before you took the beating. The boy calmly walked up to me and placed his hand on my chest and began a slow chant, and my burns stopped hurting. What, you can heal too? What kind of quirk do you have? He answered me, if I just beat my opponents I would start to become like them. I'm trying to learn my limits and not go too far with my opponents. He walked towards the other downed heroes and repeated the chant and healed them. I was taught how to heal by my mentor before he showed me how to throw a punch. He taught me how to heal. I asked him, how did you make a fire shield, or that ball of fire that you hit me with? Izuku POV I smiled at Endeavor and blew out a thin column of fire, grabbed it like a WHP and neatly cut a light post in half like a hot knife through butter. I released the fire and it went away. I looked at building across the street and told the heroes to cover their ears. I let out a sonic blast that destroyed a building wall. I asked them to leave the training area because I couldn't guarantee their safety. I went to the farthest end of the training ground and partial shifted and envisioned heat, lots and lots of heat. As I got hotter, the concrete began to melt, steel warped and turned into liquid. Then I stopped. The pressure was becoming too much and I released the heat in a roar straight up into the air. The two buildings closest to me melted and I had to leap into the air and fly out of the area I was in because everything looked very unstable. I shifted back to my normal self and I could still feel the heat from across the small city. 𝐒𝐻𝐈 oh my, I didn't expect that all of the cameras in the area were destroyed. The aerial cameras were also destroyed. Buildings collapsed just because of his heat. Endeavor couldn't even produce the kind of heat at that scale, and the fire WHP and shield was also amazing. I looked at All Might, who also looked shocked. I told him we need to continue to train him how to restrain his power. I looked at the students, who didn't look well at all. I told them that this was not to leave this area for his safety. If people knew that he wieled this much power, people would try to provoke him or even take him just to try to study him or just kill him. They all agreed, and Mr. Aizawa ran into the room shortly after with Ai asking about the very large fireball that flew into the sky. Izuku PV. The bus ride after today's training was very quiet except for Eri, who was telling me how much fun she had playing with the kitten. I would look over to the girls and I could tell they felt a little uncomfortable being around me right now. Ochako and Momo were talking, but the others were avoiding eye contact with me. When we got home, I started to cook while the girls showered, and a few minutes later there was a knock at the door. I opened it and Tsuyu was standing there in a pretty dress. She looked at me and said, "I need to talk with you," so I invited her in and asked her if she would like to eat with us. Tsuyu POV. I thanked him and entered the house. It was a cozy-looking house. I could smell the food, and I took a good look at Izuku and just realized that he was wearing an apron that said "Kiss the Chef." He looked so different from the monster that we faced during training. He looked sweet. He was cooking dinner. I couldn't help myself. I started to giggle. He looked at me and asked, "Do I look funny?" I answered him, "No, you don't. It's just that after what you showed us today, how strong you really are. You're in the kitchen with an apron that says 'Kiss the Chef.'" I couldn't help myself. He smiled at me and I could feel myself blushing. I asked, "Where is everyone?" Just then Eri came running into the room in a kitten Odyssey, and she was so cute. Momo and Ochako walked into the room in a set of comfortable-looking pajamas. I suddenly felt overdressed when the girls greeted me and asked me what brought me over. I needed to talk with Midoriya, and then he invited me in for dinner. "Izuku PV, let's eat first, then we can talk. Is that okay with you?" She said yes. We enjoyed our meal, and Tsuyu asked me who taught me how to cook, and I told him my mom did. I asked Eri to go to the living room and pick out a movie for us to watch, and I would join after talking with Tsuyu. Then my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number and I answered. It was Overhaul. He told me that I was going to meet up with him alone this Saturday evening, or bad things were going to start happening to my loved ones. I could feel the shift starting and I started to take deep breaths. I asked him where, and he said he was going to call me and let me know here, and if I didn't arrive within 30 minutes people would die, and if I told anyone people would die. Then he hung up. Tsuyu PV. Great. He got a phone call, then something happened. His facial expression changed, then his eyes changed. They looked cat-like, then smoke started to come out of his nose and he started breathing deeply. He began looking into my eyes and his gaze was so intense I just wanted to run. He looked at me and asked me to please ask Ochako and Momo to come here. I nodded my head and got them. When they saw the look on his face, they ran to him and held him. I felt a little ashamed. I wanted to run from him. He scared me. I watched him start to tremble, then he began to cry. He kept taking deep breaths and his shaking stopped and his eyes became normal again. Then he looked at me and apologized. He said, "I know I scared you just now and I owe you an explanation, but this is something you may not want to know." I looked him in the eyes and said, "Please tell me." "Izuku Tsuyu, I just got a phone call from Overhaul and he said if I didn't meet up with him this Saturday alone that he was going to start to kill my loved ones. I know it's a trap, but if I don't go I put my mom, Ochako's parent and Momo's parent, in harm's way." I looked at Ochako then to Momo and said, "I have a plan, but I need you to trust me. Ochako, I need you to get my mom and your parents to go over to Momo parents' house. Both of you are going to protect them. I'll go to the park and deal with Overhaul." Tsuyu PV. Midoriya, you're not going alone. I've been working on my quirk and now I can camouflage myself to blend in with my environment, basically becoming invisible. I won't let you do this alone. Please let me help you while Momo and Ochako protect your families. All of us together can make this work, please. Izuku PV. I laid out my plan to the girls Friday after school. Ochako and Momo were going to have all of our families meet up at Momo's parents' house. Tsuyu and I were going to the park to meet up with Overhaul. I started to thank Tsuyu and told her that there was nothing I could do to repay her. Eri walked into the room and looked at me and said that we were missing the movie. I smiled at her and walked over to her and hugged her. All of the girls joined us in the living room to watch the movie. After it finished I left the room and took Eri to bed and tucked her in and began to read her favorite bedtime story. Tsuyu POV. Does her always put Eri to bed. 𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿 Momo, how come you're not afraid of Izuku? I saw the look in his eyes during the phone call. I was terrified he was breathing smoke. But you two ran to him like it was nothing. 𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿 yes, and he also reads her a bedtime story. Sometimes when he's really tired he falls asleep in the chair by her bed as he's reading to her. He really is a great father. He loves her as if she was his. 𝐶𝐻, I'm not afraid of him because he would never hurt us. Did you know that he saved my life twice? He also saved Momo's life from a rampaging Nomyu. He destroyed his arms defending Ai and Momo. He does his best to make sure that we're happy and loved. That's why I don't fear him. Momo POV, I will be honest, I felt that way when I first saw him unleash his power. Then I felt ashamed of myself. He hasn't done anything for me to have ever be afraid of him. He is kind, gentle, loving, understanding, and a bit of a nerd. But there's nothing he wouldn't do for his loved ones, friends, or family. 𝐶𝐻 POV, I didn't know that he saved her life twice. I felt ashamed of myself for being afraid of him. Even during the fight he never hit me. He has always been kind to me and we worked well together during to fight against the villains. I looked down to the floor. I need to apologize to him and tell him how I feel. When I looked back up he was walking back into the room. Before I could stop myself I began to apologize to him, and before I could finish he hugged me. Izuku 𝐻𝐿, I can't thank you enough for the help that you offered me. I know that you're a little afraid of me, I saw it, but know that I could never hurt you. You're kind and a very dear friend to me. So thank you for offering your help. It means the world to me, and I know 𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿 and Momo will feel better with you there rather than me going alone. I release my hug and look at her, and I can see she had tears in her eyes. We need to get some rest. Do you want me to walk you back to the dorm? She looked me in the eyes and said no and left quickly. Overhaul POV, this is the plan. Twice you're going to make copies of Gigantomachia, then you will go after the boy's mother and bring her to me. If you can't find her, get the girl's mother. I'm sure he doesn't want anything to happen to her. I will be waiting for him and taunting him. I'll get him to trade the girl for the mother. Gigantomachia, you going to make sure that the boy doesn't try anything heroic. If he does you will kill the two of them. If that happens I will go after the girl at a later date. Izuku POV, the week flew by and Friday after school the girls packed Eri up and went to Momo's parents' house along with my mom. 𝐶𝐻 came over to my house and we waited for the phone call. I put on a movie for us when she looked at me and said, I need to tell you something. I paused the movie. She told me that she liked me. 𝐶𝐻 POV, I've liked you for a while now, ever since you sang for us the first time. I didn't know how to tell you because you were with 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿. Then you also started dating Momo and I thought maybe I had a chance, but I didn't know how to approach you. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow and I didn't want to lose my chance because I was too shy to tell you how I feel. Before I realized what I was doing I leaned in and kissed him. His lips were soft. Izuku 𝐻𝐿, I was shocked. She kissed me. Her lips were soft just like the rest of her that was leaning on me. When she pulled away I could feel how red I turned. 𝐶𝐻, I really like you, but before we can go any further we need to talk to the girls first. I will promise you this, as soon as this mess is over I will talk to all three of them. 𝐶𝐻 POV, three of them. I thought you were only dating the 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿 and Momo. Izuku POV, you're forgetting Eri, she also has to know. 𝐶𝐻, I'm not a half-in kind of guy. If you want to be a part of my life you have to accept me and my family. She is a part of my family, so if you want to be with me you have to accept her as well. Eri has had it really hard and I want her to be loved by not only me but by everybody in our family. She never had that, but I'm going to make sure that she has it for the rest of my life. 𝐶𝐻, can you accept that? 𝐶𝐻 POV, Izuku, how can you be so strong yet so sweet? I don't understand you. Most people who go through half of what you did are bitter. Most people with your strength love to show it off, but you've always been afraid of your strength. You go out of your way not to hurt people unless they hurt the people you care for. But stand there and just take it if they just direct it at you. Why are you like that? Izuku POV, I was weak once and got bullied by the strong. I grew up an only child, so I know what it was like to be alone. Don't get me wrong, my mom tried, but it's not the same. My quirk didn't manifest until my last year of junior high. So people made fun of me for being quirkless, and now I have a quirk that scares me because I could accidentally kill someone if I'm not careful. I guess I'm used to people talking bad about me, so it really doesn't bother me much. But it hurts me to see the people that I love go through that. So I react strongly against it, kind of like what I did to Bakugo. 𝐶𝐻 POV, Izuku, I can accept your terms if you will accept me into your life. 𝐒𝐬𝐽 𝐵 and I dozed off on the sofa when the phone rang. I answered it and it was All Might asking me about my training and how it was going. I told him that it was going well and that I was training new aspects of my quirk. I wanted to tell him what was going on but I didn't want to risk it. So shortly after I hung up, 𝐒𝐬 looked at me and I told her that it was All Might asking about my training. We ate breakfast. When I got the call he sounded smug. He enjoyed telling me where to meet him. I told him that there is no way I could get there in 30 minutes. It takes 4 hours by bullet train. He told me that I should hurry up and that he was getting a gift for me. That he hung up. 𝐒𝐬, I could see the anger on Izuku's face. He looked at me and asked me to call Momo and let her know that Overhaul was on the move. Once I hung up he looked at me and said, get ready because we need to leave as soon as possible. To keep Overhaul off his feet. Overhaul, okay, twice make the clones and go after the boy's mother and you know the rest of the plan. We'll be in the closed-off section of Akigahara Forest waiting for you. Please hurry, it will take him about 4 hours to get there and another hour to make it to the forest. That gives you plenty of time to make this happen. As soon as you grab his mom, Kurogiri will teleport you directly to us. Twice made 5 clones of Gigantomachia and left. Kurogiri teleported us to the forest, then left. Gigantomachia looked at me and said, this place reeks of death and sorrow. Then the 6 of them took different paths and faded away. It put a smile on my face. This place was disturbing and I like it. 𝐒𝐬 POV, I'm holding onto Izuku's neck like my life depended on it. He was carrying me while he was flying and we were moving very fast. It didn't help that we also were very high in the air. I never would have thought the first time I had my arms around his neck that we would be flying. One of these days I really need to ask him what is his quirk. What should have taken us about 5 hours took us 1. When we got close he folded his wings and I couldn't help myself. I screamed out in a panic at what felt like the last second. He opened his wings and we landed gently onto the ground. 𝐒𝐬𝐽 𝐶, I need you to camouflage yourself and hold onto my back for now. When we get to the forbidden part of the forest you will fall back and use the comm pieces in our ears Momo made for us to stay in contact. If you see anything that doesn't look right please let me know. She nodded her head, climbed onto my back piggyback style, and after a few moments she faded away and we made our way into the forest. Overhaul PV, what do you mean you can't find his mom? She always goes to the market on Saturday, then she does laundry and hangs clothing on the balcony. Did you try the girl's parents' house? Twice said he was there and that her parents weren't home. He even went to her father's job looking for him but he wasn't there. I'll kill that brat for mocking me, then I'll kill all of his loved ones. I need to get my mind back into the game. When I hear rustling in the woods on the path I look up and see the boy. 𝐒𝐬𝐽 POV, I see Overhaul in front of me and I can see the look of shock on his face. I'm here, what do you want from me? The look went from shock to malice as he began to address me. Overhaul POV, how did you get here so fast? That shouldn't be possible. He looked at me and said I ran. But he didn't look like it fazed him. My plan isn't coming together. I have nothing to threaten him with. I need to stall him a little longer. I need leverage or this won't work. 𝐒𝐬𝐽 POV, what's wrong Overhaul? You look like things aren't going your way. What do you want from me? If it's Eri, don't waste your breath. I'm never giving her to you. She is mine and she is safe, and if you try to take her again you won't escape me again. I will hunt you down and crush you. This isn't a threat, consider this a promise from me to you. Overhaul POV, BSE, who the hell do you think you are? Right now I have your mother. If you want her to stay safe you will do what I want. You will bring me Eri or I will kill her. Are you willing to make that trade? 𝐒𝐬𝐽 POV, I couldn't help myself. I began to chuckle. I knew that if anything would have happened 𝐒𝐬 would have contacted me. I'm so thankful that everyone went to Momo's house, but I'm done with this guy. You threatened my mother and you think that I'm going to let you leave now. Overhaul POV, I can't chance this. Gigantomachia, kill him. Before I could finish I felt a blow to my jaw. I think he broke my jaw and I went down. The ground erupted. One of the Gigantomachia rushed him but he moved like water. It was like he melted, but Gigantomachia is also very fast. But the boy's body changed. He looked like a half-dragon half-man with wings. Gigantomachia threw punches but the boy was so fast the punches never connected. But the boy's punches all connected and Gigantomachia dropped and began to melt. 𝐒𝐬𝐽 POV, 𝐒𝐬 spoke into my ear saying that 5 more of those big guys were moving towards me very fast. I looked at Overhaul and I began to feel anger. I was never going to leave this place if it was up to him. So be it, I'll show them real fear so that they will never go after my loved ones again. I waited until they were within their striking range, then I shifted. They went from large to tiny. Overhaul P. The boy changed again. He isn't a boy, he's a monster. I need kill him now before this gets any worse. His foot came down, destroying 3 of the 5 Gigantomachia. One of them tried to flee the area and got hit with a sonic blast that ruptured my eardrums and sent him down hard. Then the dragon looked at the last one and hit it with electricity that made him melt instantly. This can't be happening. I staggered to my feet and the dragon stared at me and I felt his hate. For the first time since I received my quirk, I was genuinely terrified. 𝐶𝐬 I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. The kind Izuku that I'm used to seeing isn't here. The Izuku I see before me is terrifying. He fought ruthlessly and he changed to a half-dragon and now he changed again. He is a dragon and he is putting them down hard. Overhaul is the only one left and Izuku is staring him down. Overhaul leaned forward and Izuku opened his mouth and I can see the glow of fire and Overhaul froze. The dragon shrunk and Izuku stood there with rage in his eyes. Overhaul PV he is in his human form again. I wanted to strike him while he was in his dragon form. It would be hard not to miss, but when he opened his mouth and I saw the orange glow, I froze. Once he was human again, he looked at me and told me I should never have threatened his family. I slammed my hand to the ground and sent stone spikes flying at him and he stood there and took the hit and nothing. Not even a scratch. I need to touch him. If I can touch him I could end this. I go to sprint forward and then my feet were taken out from under me. He never moved. I quickly roll and I saw a silhouette moving. I slap my hand to the ground and spikes shoot out. And he moved in a blur and lifted the blur and I heard a girl cry out in pain. Izuku PV Overhaul got his legs taken out from under him. It was 𝐶𝐬. Oh no, this isn't good. He's going to try to kill her. I moved to grab and lift her and a spike got her in her calf. I can feel my rage boil over. I look over at Overhaul who is getting up trying to run away again. I leap and come down. He rolled out of the way slapping the ground again and I shift my density and slam my foot down on the ground, destroying the spikes before they can form. He tried sprinting away. I sprinted towards him and punched him right above his shoulder blades. He dropped screaming out in pain. I heard his back break. I hurry over to 𝐶𝐬. I tell her to relax, that I'm going to pull the spike out, then I was going to heal her. 𝐶𝐬 PV Izuku dropped Overhaul viscously. He came over to me. He looked concerned. The Izuku I knew was starting to show again. He looked at my calf and pulled. Then he touched my leg and started chanting. My leg felt warm, then the pain was gone. When he finished he looked into my eyes. His eyes were still cat-like. I felt like he was looking into my soul. He apologized to me for not being fast enough. I slapped him. I told him that he is such a reckless fool. Do you know how dangerous your opponents were? How do you think Eri would have felt if she were to lose you? How Ochako or Momo would have felt? Did you even think about how I would have felt? Izuku PV I pulled her in and hugged her and she began to weep and shake and I just held her. When she stopped shaking I let her go. I apologized to her and said I need to finish what I started and turned away from her and walked over to Overhaul. I could see the hate in his eyes, in his face. Overhaul PV my body isn't moving. I'm paralyzed from the neck down and the boy is now walking towards me. Do you think that you have won? My allies will hunt down your family and they will kill them. You will never know a day's peace. I will get my revenge by making you suffer before I kill you. He just stood there looking at me. He bent closer to me, touched my back and my pain went away, but I still had no control over my limbs. My phone started to ring and he pulled it out of my pocket and answered. Izuku I answered the phone before I could speak. The voice said I still can't find his family and I spoke looking down at Overhaul and said, Overhaul isn't available anymore and if you touch a hair on any of my family members' head I will find you no matter what rock you crawl under and you will share Overhaul's fate. And hung up the phone and crushed it. I saw his face change from anger to fear. You have people looking for my family. You tried to kill me and you hurt someone I care for. I should just leave you here to rot in this forest. That's what you deserve, and if they ever find you they would think that you committed suicide to compensate for all of your sins. Then I felt arms wrap around me and say, that's enough, we won, please don't let him make you worse. 𝐶𝐬 POV As I heard what Izuku was saying I run up behind him and hug him, begging him to stop. I heard the anger in his voice when he said that this man doesn't deserve mercy and told me about how Eri had scars both mentally and physically. How this man drugged Ochako and kidnapped both Ochako and Eri. I said in my softest voice and said, how do you think they would feel if you did that? Eri looks up to you, is that what you want to teach her? I heard his voice crack and he lowered his head. He said no. He asked me to call 𝐒𝐿 and have her anonymously call the police, and he walked away dragging the big guy back with him. We waited until we heard the sounds of people coming, and then we hid high up in the treetops that remained. It was the police. We saw the look of surprise on their faces when they saw the devastated land and the villains they caught. We stayed hidden until they left. Then 𝐒𝐿 spoke to me. I could hear the pain in his voice. 𝐒𝐿, thank you Tsuyu. If it wasn't for you, I think that I might have made a really bad decision. I think that I need to reflect on some of my choices. I really thought about just leaving him there to rot. I think that I really need to leave this place. Let's go home. I took Tsuyu to the dorms and asked her if she needed anything, and she said no. I told her that I would see her tomorrow and that I needed to be alone for a while, and thanked her one more time. I hugged her and then I went home. I laid down on the sofa, and when I woke up 𝐒𝐿 was holding my hand sitting on the floor next to me. I sat up and hugged her when she hugged me back and said thank you for what you did, and I broke. Tsuyu POV, I got to my room and took a shower. Tsuyu POV, I got to my room and took a shower. When I got to my leg, I saw a tiny mark on my calf where I got stabbed. I touched it and thought about how 𝐒𝐿 healed me. I finished my shower and I called 𝐒𝐿. I told her that we were back and I laid down and I feel asleep. I woke up to a knock on my door. I got out of bed and opened my door. It was 𝐒𝐿 and I slammed the door in his face. I didn't want him to see me in my PJs. Why is he here so early? I tell him that I'll be right out. 𝐒𝐿 Tsuyu slammed the door in my face and told me she will be right out. I spoke with 𝐒𝐿 last night about Tsuyu and we called Momo and they agreed to bring her into the family. I thought it would be better to tell her face to face. After about 15 minutes she opened the door and she looked pretty. Tsuyu POV, why are you here so early? When he told me that he spoke with the girls and they accepted me into the family, I felt my face turn red and I kissed him. When I let him go he was blushing. He told me that he was going to pick up Eri and Momo, and when he returned he was going to pick me up and take me over to the house. He leaned in and gave me a hug and left. I could feel the glow reach my ears. I go back into my room but I can't relax, so I decide to get some breakfast. As I'm eating my breakfast, 𝐤𝐻𝑖ro started tapping my shoulder and asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine, but she just looked at me. 𝐤𝐻𝑖ro POV, Tsuyu, are you sure you're okay? Your cheeks are red and you're in a daze. I was calling your name but you didn't hear me, so I tapped your shoulder. I think that recovery girl is in her office. We could stop by and have her check you. What's the special occasion? You're dressed really nice today. I've never seen you in that dress before. Don't tell me that you have a date. Is that why you're all dressed up and spaced out? Who is it? Is he in our class? Let me guess, is it 𝐒𝐿 or Tokoyami? I know they like you. Tsuyu POV, no, it's not like that. I just felt like dressing up today. Mina walked in and told us that the police caught 𝐒𝐿 and another villain yesterday. That they received an anonymous phone call. Both villains were in bad shape but both would live. The thought of 𝐒𝐿 in that state made me shudder. Mina POV, I went silent when I got a good look at Tsuyu and asked who was the lucky guy. Tsuyu face snapped up towards me. Tsuyu POV, I just felt like dressing nice today. Why does it always have to be about a boy with you guys? Then another voice got our attention and I felt embarrassed. Bakugo POV, hey frog princess, who's the lucky toad? Seriously, why are you dressed up so nice? Let me guess, you're meeting up with a frog prince. Mina, I was just about to tell Bakugo off when I heard a very angry 𝐒𝐿 answer him first and all eyes were on him. 𝐒𝐿 POV, apologize now or you will be very sorry. Did you hear me, Kaken? I said apologize now. Bakugo POV, yeah, whatever, sorry. Wait, hold up, don't tell me you're the frog prince she's waiting for. You greedy BS, you're already dating two of the prettiest girls in our class. Why would you be interested in her? 𝐤𝐻𝑖ro POV, I can see the hurt in Tsuyu's eyes as I wrap my arms around her. Before I could yell at Bakugo, I heard 𝐒𝐿 speak in a cold, hard voice. Tsuyu and I both looked at 𝐒𝐿. He looked like he wanted to hurt Bakugo. We didn't expect what we heard next. 𝐒𝐿 POV, Kaken, for someone who is so strong you're blind. Tsuyu is very appealing. Not only is she pretty, she's smart and cool under pressure. She is someone who I can rely on when I'm down. I'm so grateful that she would allow me the privilege of being able to take her out on a date. Anyone she decided to be with would be lucky to have such a wonderful person in their life. Tsuyu POV, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. 𝐒𝐿 thinks that highly of me. I couldn't help myself and I started to cry. When I looked over at 𝐤𝐻𝑖ro, she was speechless. She looked happy for me but she was sad. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 I looked over to Tsuyu and saw her crying being held by Gyro, and I felt the anger building inside of me. I walked over to her and reached out to her and said let's go. Gyro let her go and she stepped back. I thanked her and asked her if she wanted to join us. Tsuyu reached out and grabbed my hand, and then she asked me if I really meant what I said. I smiled at her and said I meant every word I said. Gyro, are you coming? Gyro PV, I don't want to be a third wheel. Then he smiled at me and said you comforted Tsuyu when I should have been there for her. Tsuyu then asked me to join them. This made me happy and I said yes and left with them. Tsubi Izuku, why did you come back so soon? I thought you're picking up your family. Izuku PV, Ochiko asked me to come by and pick you up and drop you off at the house before I picked up the girls, and I'm glad that I did. I looked back at Kaken one last time, then I followed the girls out. Bakugo POV, what in the hell do they see in that loser? I said out loud. Mina said he's kind, loyal to a fault, smart, and he'll do anything to protect his family. I told her to shut up, that I didn't ask her, and I went back to my room. I need to keep going over the MMA videos to learn takedown techniques and show Deku that I'm still number one. Bakugo POV, as I watch takedown after takedown I decide that I need to practice against another person. I call Kirishima and tell him to meet me in the common area so we could go to the gym and spar. When he agreed I changed my clothes and thought about what I learned by watching the videos. I thought about other ways to beat Deku and I remembered my gauntlets. If I had my gauntlets he wouldn't have been able to take the blast. This gives me another idea. Same time at the villain hideout. Twice POV, as I spoke with Shigaraki informing him of everything that went wrong with Overhaul's plan. He just sat and listened, taking it all in. I told him when I was done that we need to avoid angering this one for as long as we can. I still felt the shiver go up my spine as I heard the boy tell me Overhaul isn't available right now and that he would hunt me down. When I saw the news reports on the shape Overhaul and Gigantomachia when they were arrested. I told Shigaraki that I believed that voice over the phone. He wasn't angry, he said it like they were facts that I could never change. Shigaraki PV, I think that it would be better to deal with this boy sooner than later. He is still in training. If we continue to wait he will only get stronger. I think we're going to have to nip this in the bud sooner than later. Overhaul was too arrogant and that was his downfall, and it cost us Gigantomachia. I don't think that boy could beat him, especially 6 of him. I bet it was some kind of trap set up by the heroes. Gigantomachia was the MST's personal bodyguard. He wouldn't go down that easy. Give me some time and I'll think of a plan to get that boy. Tsuyu POV, Ochiko, Gyro and I had a great conversation while we were preparing lunch. I asked Ochiko what was the plan for today and she told me that we were going to karaoke barn for dinner. I could see that Gyro was as excited as I was. Gyro POV, Ochiko, can I ask you a question? I don't want to sound rude, but doesn't bother you to share Izuku? He is such a sweet guy and you could have had him all to yourself. I don't know if I could have shared him if I were you. I'd want to keep him all to myself. Ochiko P. Gyro, to be honest with you I was a little nervous at first, but Izuku is a lot to handle. Momo and I will only connect to him on the weekends because he leaves us swollen even though he is gentle. When we're done making love we look Piudin and tea. It takes several hours for our bellies go down. 2. Be honest Gyro, I don't think that one woman could handle him. I look over to Tsuyu and I see her blushing. Tsuyu asked me if what I told Bakugo true about Izuku, and Gyro's face went red as I said yes. Izuku POV, we're home. I said I let my little rabbit go and she ran into the house. I saw Gyro and Tsuyu blushing as I entered the living room. Is everything okay? I asked as Momo walked in behind me. When I looked back to Ochiko she was hugging Eri. She told us to go wash our hands so we could eat. Once we got to the table we had a very nice conversation. Even Eri enjoyed it. She told me how Momo's house was like a castle. Then Eri asked me if we could play Mario Kart after we were done eating. Ochiko POV, hey Gyro, could you help me clear the table and wash the dishes please? Izuku said he would take care of it, not to worry. I said no baby, you need to go spend time with Ai, she missed you and you need to spend some quality time with her. Izuku asked me are you sure, and I said yes. Tsuyu, why don't you join them? Momo, can you join us for a minute? I think this is a good time for Ai to get comfortable with Tsuyu. Plus we need to have a talk with Gyro here. I think there is something she wants to talk to us about. Izuku POV, after playing a few games of Mario Kart and watching a couple of movies we finally made it to karaoke barn. Ai was so happy she picked Baby Shark. She looked so cute as she sang. Momo picked I Set Fire to the Rain by Adele and she looked Secretary Izuku PV. The Tsuyu got up next and sang One More Light by Linkin Park, and as she sang her eyes started to water as she looked at me. I saw the same pain in her eyes as when I was done fighting Overhaul. When she was done singing I got up and hugged her and apologized for scaring her. Eri looked at me and asked why was she crying. I told her that Daddy sometimes acts without thinking. Tsuyu asked me to remember that I am not alone anymore and to be more careful. I said I was sorry and I'll do better at making safer decisions. Izuku POV Gyro and Ochako sang The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. I've never heard this version of this song but I liked it. The girls sounded great together. Eri and I began to bob our heads together in rhythm with the music. The tune lifted Tsuyu's spirits as she began to bob her head with us. When they were done we all clapped. Then it was my turn to sing. I picked The Sound of Silence by Disturbed. I really love this version of this song. POV I listened to my dad sing the same song that Mom and Gyro sang, but it sounded so different. I sat on Mommy Momo lap. I looked up at her and her face was like mine, so were Mommy Ochako, Tsuyu and Gyro. I looked back at Daddy. I felt the tears come but I wasn't sure why. I just wanted to hug my daddy. When he finished singing I ran to him and hugged him as tightly as I could. Gyro PV I watched as A ran to Izuku and hugged him, followed by Ochako, then Momo, then Tsuyu. All I could think about was when I was in the kitchen and Ochako asking me how long did you have a crush on Izuku. Followed up by Momo asking me if I was going to ask him if he would accept me into his life. Izuku POV as I dropped the girls off at the dorm. Gyro said thank you and good night and left to her room. I walked Tsuyu to her room and she pulled me into the room with her kissing me. I looked into her eyes and they were big and appealing. I smiled with her and this time I pulled her into a kiss. I held her close to me. I could feel her heartbeat speed up. I cupped my hand down to her butt and lifted her slightly. She let out a slight and melted into me. I could feel her need for more. When I loosened up and she pulled back slightly, her cheeks were red. Tsuyu POV Izuku why did you stop? Did I do something wrong? Izuku PV I smiled at her and said there is school tomorrow and I don't think your neighbors want to hear us going at it for most of the night. Plus I know you're going to want to be able to walk in the morning. Tsuyu I will promise you this. I will arrange it so that this Friday evening you and I will have a few hours alone. You might want to start a limbering exercise this week or you're going to be very sore when we're done. Tsuyu POV I could feel my face go deep red. I never thought that he was that bold. Then he leaned in and kissed me one more time. It was a soft, slow, passionate kiss. When he pulled back I looked into his eyes and I was lost in them. I hugged him one last time and he stepped back. I could see that the tips of his ears were red and he was breathing as heavy as I was. Good night Aizu I said. Izuku POV Aizu. I said as I smiled at her. She told me that is what she going to call me when we're together. I smiled at her and said good night and left her room. I couldn't believe I said that to her. My heart was still racing. I know I must have looked like a dork trying to be smooth. As I walked to the elevators 𝐒𝐭𝐻 and Kirishima was stepping out of them. Bakugo PV if it isn't Deku I want a rematch you punk, let's fight right now. I'll show you that your win was nothing but a fluke. Izuku PV look 𝐒𝐿 I don't want to get suspended again, let it go for now. We can get a teacher and fight in a proper match so that we don't get in trouble again. So let it go for now. I just had a wonderful evening, please don't ruin it for me. Bakugo POV do you think I care about your night? I want my rematch so that you know your place. I'm going to be the #1 hero, you're going to be nothing but an afterthought. If you're lucky and you beg me for a few months I might make you my sidekick. Izuku POV look 𝐒𝐿 go talk with a teacher and get it set up, I'll fight you if you want. Just leave me be for now. Tsuyu POV while I was undressing I heard an argument in the hallway. It was Bakugo of course. Who was he fighting with this time? As I began to listen it was Izuku he was arguing with. I hurry and finish changing and I step out into the hallway and Bakugo was staring daggers at Izuku. Bakugo POV I forgot you had a date with the frog. I don't see any warts on your face so I guess you struck out. Tsuyu POV what I heard scared me. Izuku face looked down at the ground and in a soft low tone he asked him what did you say? I ran to Izuku and held him from behind and asked him to stop. It's okay, he isn't worth it. Bakugo POV what did you say? After I crush him I'll squash you. Kirishima put his hand on my shoulder and said drop it, let's go. I looked at him and said don't worry, I'm going to get it set up and I'll crush you. As we walk away I could hear him say, don't worry, just set up the match, I'll be there. When I'm done with you, you're going to apologize to Tsuyu. Izuku Tsuyu, I'm so sorry that you had to hear that. I want you to know if you stay by my side, Kaken will continue to bother you. If you don't want to be with me, I understand. Tsuyu POV Aizu, watching you stand up for me only makes me want to be with you even more. You really are the sweetest guy I know, and I'd be a fool to let you go. So please don't let him take you away from me. Izuku, I turn around to look at Tsuyu and I smile at her. I place my hand gently on her face. Thank you, Tsuyu, once again. I'm glad you showed up when you did. I don't know what I have done to be so lucky to have you want to be a part of my life. I leaned in once again and kissed her. Then I heard a high-pitched squeal. I quickly turned around and I saw Gyro along with Mina. I turned completely red when I looked at Tsuyu. She was the same color as me. I told Tsuyu I got to go and ran out of the building. I need to train to blow off this anger or I'm going to hurt somebody. Gyro, PV, Mina and I were stunned when we saw Izuku lean in and kissed Tsuyu in the hallway. When he ran out of the building, Mina asked Tsuyu, are his lips as soft as they look? Tsuyu looked like a tomato at this point. But she looked at us and said yes they are, and he is a great kisser. I began to blush remembering my talk with Ochako and Momo. He is already dating 3 of the prettiest girls in our class. What do I have to offer? I don't have big BS. I'm not as pretty as the other girls. Why would he want me? Mina was still questioning Tsuyu about Izuku when I snapped back to reality. I really need to talk to Momo or Ochako tomorrow. Ochako PV I saw when Izuku got home, but he went straight into the backyard and began to train hard. I told Momo what was going on. She was tucking in Eri, who was also waiting for Izuku. The 3 of us went out back to see what was wrong. When we made it to the back, he was topless, going through a series of martial arts striking movements. Eri ran out to him like she always does, and you could just see the anger in his face just melt away. Momo and I walked up to him and asked what was wrong. Izuku PV Kaken tried to start a fight with me in the hall, then he insulted Tsuyu just to get me to swing on him. I convinced him to talk to a teacher and set up a match. So we don't get into trouble, but I'm so angry with him. I don't know why he hates me so much. I go out of my way not to bother him. Eri looked me in my eyes and said, Daddy, you shouldn't let stupid people make you mad. I looked at her in shock. Eri, where did you hear this? I heard Mr. Aizawa tell that to another teacher one day. I couldn't help myself. I busted out laughing. Ochako and Momo were also laughing. Eri asked what was so funny, and all I could do was hug her and tickle her until she squealed out a little laugh. Ochako PV, okay, now we all need to go inside and get some rest. Tomorrow is a school day. Hey, it's time for bed, let's go now. Momo P, Izuku, why don't you tuck her in, Ochako, and I will be waiting for you in the room. Don't be too long, okay? Izuku POV as they walked away, the sway of their hips made my heart skip a beat. Momo turned before entering the house and put a finger on her lips and gave me a wicked smile. Eri asked me why was my face turning red. I looked at her and smiled. Come on now, my little rabbit, I'll read you a story as I tuck you in. She squealed out in joy and forgot about her question. When I got to the room, the girls made the rest of my anger melt away with their sweet lips. Kaken PV, I woke up early and went to school to talk with Mr. Aizawa to schedule a match with Deku. He promptly declined my request, telling me that I wasn't mentally ready for that match yet. But if I could get Izuku to accept, he would allow it to happen. I told him that Deku already agreed. Aizawa POV, what did you do to get him to agree to a fight? Better yet, are you sure that you're ready for this? I know that he wouldn't accept a challenge from you without you provoking him. Kaken PV, oh yeah, I'm ready for this, the sooner the better. Aizawa PV, okay, just remember you asked for this. We'll have the match on Friday. I'll set it up in the gym, just the 2 of you. Kaken P, no, I want the class to see this. Everyone to know that I'm the best. I know he told everyone that he beat me. Aizawa PV, actually no, he didn't. He never said anything to anyone about it. He was ashamed of himself for losing his temper in front of his family. So I'll ask you one last time, are you sure you won't fight him? Without hesitating, he said yes. Izuku. The week flew by, and every day after school the girls and I trained in the backyard. Ochako and Momo advanced to sparing Eri's punches, and reflex have gotten much better, and Tsuyu has joined us. I have been working on improving my technique and speed and power. When I was done, I would always catch the girls staring at me. This always made me blush. Always made me smile by repeating something one of the girls would say, embarrassing the girls. Kaken POV, as I got ready for my flight with Deku, I strapped on my gauntlets and stepped into the gym. There he was standing in the middle of the gym stretching out. When he looked at me, all I saw was anger. Mr. Aizawa approached me and told me to take off my gauntlets. This was a sparring match, not a fight to the death. I tried to get him to change his mind, but he didn't budge. This ruined my plan, but that's fine, I can still do this, and stepped into the middle of the gym. Izuku POV. As he stepped up towards me, Mr. Aizawa laid out the rules of the win knockout or SBMSN, or if he stopped the fight. Was the only way to win this match. Then he said, ready, begin. I saw 𝐭𝐿 blast towards me and I stood my ground. I was tired of running from him. Tired of him bullying me, and most of all tired of him picking on the ones I care for. As soon as he got close, as swiftly as I dared, I roundhouse kicked him. The hit plus his momentum launched him across the gym. I ran after him using OFA and caught him before he hit the wall. I threw him back to the center. No more, I will not allow him to hurt the ones I love anymore. 𝐭𝐿 POV. I blasted towards him, and as I threw my punch, his foot connected to my shoulder and I flew out of control towards the wall. Before I hit it, I felt a hand grab my arm and threw me back in the center of the gym. As he landed in front of me, I got back up to my feet and threw a series of punches that he simply evaded without even blocking. I could see the malice in his eyes. His normally timid eyes were gone. I need to end this quickly. Once again I use my quirk and blast towards him. This time I go low, and at the last second I spring up to try to take him down. He sidestepped me and used my momentum against me. Once again I was flying across the room. This time he didn't catch me and I bounced across the ground a few times before I stopped. I quickly got back up to my feet and he just stood there looking at me. I screamed out to him, fight me, you thing BSD. Aizawa POV. This isn't a fight. Izuku is just having his way with Bakugo. Izuku is on a whole other level. He really hasn't attacked yet, but you can feel the hate rolling off his body. Izuku spoke back to Bakugo in a very cold voice. Izuku POV. 𝐭𝐿, be careful what you ask for. You will apologize to all of my family when we're done, or I will leave you in so much pain it will hurt you just to talk. 𝐭𝐿 POV. FU. Izuku POV. As you wish, I said. I activated OFA and rushed in. I shifted my density. I could see the anger in his eyes. He is going to use everything he has against me. I run into an explosion to my face and punched him in his chest, sending him flying back. I continue forward after him. As I step out of the flames, I could see both of his hands placed close together as he released another explosion. This time it sent him flying away from me as I was swallowed up by fire again. Class POV. This fight was madness. Izuku is a monster. He hit Bakugo, sent him flying, caught him, threw him back, and now he is going through explosions like they were a soft breeze. Most of the girls in the class didn't look surprised. Bakugo isn't holding back as his explosions are just getting larger to no real effect. Izuku is starting to become more relentless. His strikes are precise and all of them are connecting. Bakugo is throwing punches that are exploding. He is also trying to kick him. Izuku is just blocking him or just avoiding him. All of Izuku's movements are fluid. They flow one right into another, leaving little room for Bakugo to counter him. Aizawa POV. I'm very impressed with how much Midoriya is holding back. But I'm going to have to stop this fight soon. Izuku POV. I focus on my task at hand, strike in fluid motions, no wasted movements. Don't give him a chance to counter. Don't use too much strength yet. I want to make him feel how he makes others feel. 𝐭𝐿 is getting desperate as he uses an explosion behind him to try to tackle me. As he came towards me, I grabbed his head and hit him with a knee strike that sent him flying back. Time to get serious and finish this. 𝐭𝐿 POV. In it, I can't win like this. That last attack almost made me black out. I need to try to take him down, but I can't get close. I wish I had my gauntlets. This would be a different fight. All of a sudden Izuku yells to me to get ready, the warm-up is over. I took a knee to the chest and I flew back about 50 feet and slammed against the wall. The impact knocked the wind out of my lungs. In an instant he was right in front of me and there was nothing I could do. I could see that he was ready to throw a punch, then Deku just stopped. Aizawa POV. I yell out, match over. Winner Izuku Midoriya. 𝐭𝐿 POV. In it, why did you stop the fight? I could have gotten out of this situation. I don't consider this a loss. Mr. Aizawa pulled me over to the side and told me this match was over the moment it started. I looked over to Deku, who was surrounded by the entire class right now. I asked Mr. Aizawa what did he meant by that, and what he told me sessed me off even more. Aizawa POV. Midoriya was holding back the entire fight. Had he used his full strength like you did? His first hit would have ended the fight, and all of your sloppy attacks, even if they connected, would have done nothing to him. During a test we held for him, he had a boulder and a car dropped on him from a few stories up and they did nothing to him. He isn't the same person you knew before. Be thankful that he is a kind person, because this could have been ugly for you. Izuku POV. I see the girls staring at me when I looked down at my costume and it was shredded again. The guys looked at me in awe, asking me who taught me how to fight like that and how come I was able to go through Kaken's attacks. I hear Eri call me as she come running into the gym with Ochako right behind her. She jumped into my arms and hugged me. She looked at me and asked me what happened to my clothing. I smiled at her and told her they broke while I was training. Then she asked why didn't I take off my top like I do at home. You know what, my little rabbit, you're right, I should have. I call out to Kaken. Kaken PV, no, this can't be right, no way he's that strong, I never had a chance. Then from across the room I hear Deku call me. As I look over, he said I owe his family an apology. Mr. Aizawa looked at me. He said you made the bet, now it's time to pay up. I walk up to his family and bowed my head and I apologized. Kirishima put his hand on my shoulder and told me that was manly, come on bro, let's go train. I kept my head down as we left the gym. I felt horrible, I lost, completely lost. Not just that, I lost in front of everyone and had to apologize to his family. Izuku. I put Eri down and said I had to change. As I left I could see most of my class talking amongst themselves and Mr. Aizawa approached me. I didn't expect what happened next. He began to scold me. Aizawa POV. It's one thing to beat your opponent, but you purposely embarrassed him. That match should have been much shorter. Just remember how you felt when the strong picked on you. I saw my Doria deflate. He lowered his head and told me that's exactly what he wanted him to feel, so that he would think twice about picking on the weak. Izuku PV. Maybe I was too harsh on him. As I looked down, Mr. Aizawa told me that he was impressed with how much self-control I showed in the match. He also told me that he was impressed how I didn't waste my time with flashy moves. I looked up at him and said thanks, and then he walked away. As I changed I began to think about my date with Tsuyu. Izuku PV. As I walked out of the locker room, Ai came running to me. She looked like she was going to burst. She was so excited. She told me that she, Ochako and Momo were going horseback riding at Momo's parents' house, then they were going shopping for a clothing. I smiled at her, then her face went serious and she told me I couldn't go, that they were going to buy me something and I couldn't be there to see. I picked her up and I hugged her. I told her to have a good time and I would see her later. When I put her down she went running to Momo and held her hand. This made me feel good, seeing Eri happy and trusting people. When I turned my head I saw Tsuyu waiting for me. She was blushing slightly. I walked up to her and took her hand. I looked her in the eyes and asked her, are you sure you want to do this? Tsuyu. I looked at him and said, Aizu, I've never been so sure of anything in my life. We held hands as we left the gym. We walked over to his house and I could feel my heart racing. As we entered the house he took my hands and asked me once more was I sure I wanted to do this. He told me that there was no rush and if I wanted to just watch TV or a movie that he was fine with that. Just as long and he got so spend time with me and I was comfortable, he was happy. I placed my hands on his face and pulled him down to mine and kissed him. When we separated his face was a little red and he was breathing a little heavier. He took my hands one more time and led me to his room. Lemon warning third person POV. As they entered his room Izuku turned to her and leaned in for a kiss. Tsuyu melted into his arms and began breathing heavy. When Izuku pulled back from the kiss he gently removed her shirt. He began to kiss her neck while softly gently caressing her BST. Tsuyu croaked and she blushed. She tried to apologize but Izuku just kissed her before she could speak. She began taking of his shirt, then his breathes. Izuku placed her gently on the bed and took of her skirt, then he reached gently behind her and removed her brother. He began skiing on her BST while FNDLNG the other, and she tried to speak by let out another soft croak. He leaned in and she laid back and he removed her panties. She was breathing very heavy. He took off his own underwear and he began kissing her stomach and worked his way down. She gasped when he reached her love spot and she grabbed his head and began losing control of herself. When she clenched he worked his way back up to her mouth and lined himself up with her and gently worked his way into her. When he felt her blockage he told her to relax and take a deep breath, and as she did he pushed in and she gasped. When she got used to his size she began to grind with him and he pumped into her. He rolled her over and began doing her doggy style and she lost herself to the passion. She ended up on top of him. When he told her that he was close, she begged him to finish in her. He grabbed her by the waist and pulled her down as he began to leaking inside of her, and she let out a croak and passed out. End of lemon izukubi. Tsuyu fell on top of me making small croaking sounds as she had passed out. I released my wings and wrapped them around her. She snuggled into my chest and I let her rest. When she woke up, she looked up at me and smiled. Let's get dressed, the girls will be home soon and I'm sure you don't want to be naked when they get here. Tsuyu. I tried to lift the comforter off of us and I realized that it wasn't a comforter, it was his wings. That made me happy to know that he kept me warm and safe. I tried to get up and my legs didn't work for me. Aizu pulled himself out of me and gently placed me on the bed and dressed me up. Shortly afterwards the front door opened and Ochako, Momo, Eri, and Gyro walked in. I looked down at my still swollen belly and turned bright red. Izuku ran and jumped into my arms and began telling about the fun she had, then looked at Tsuyu and said, "Mommy, I think she ate your snacks. Her belly is swollen just like yours after you eat your snacks." Ochako and Momo turned a little pink and asked Tsuyu to follow them into the bedroom. I looked at Eri and told her to get ready to take a shower and that we were going to watch a movie together when she is done. She said okay and gave me a kiss before going to her room to shower. Gyro. I looked at Izuku and how he treated this child. Momo and Ochako both told me her story and how he is basically the only father she has ever known. That little girl loves him and I could see the love that he has for her. Izuku, can I ask you a couple of questions? Why are you going out of your way for that child? Why are you taking multiple lovers? What is it that you look for with your partners? I didn't expect his response. Izuku, I go out of that way for her because she is mine. I'm her father now until forever. I won't ever leave her. Why have I taken multiple lovers? Ochako asked me to take in Momo and then Tsuyu approached me and I accepted after I spoke with the girls to include Eri. As far as what I look for in my lovers, I guess I look for someone who accepts me for who I am. She also has to accept my other lovers and she has to accept and love Eri. If she can accept that and the girls accept her, then I'm good with that. I know it's a lot and that's why I never approached anyone even when the girls told me that it was okay. Gyro. Izuku, I don't have much in the way of looks. I don't have big biastus or a big but I do like you. I can accept your conditions if you can accept me. He gently placed his hand on my face. He frowned when he spoke. Izuku. Gyro, please don't put yourself down. I've always thought you were pretty and you carry yourself well. So please, for my sake, stop putting yourself down. It will make me upset with you. I saw tears start forming in her eyes. I pulled her in for a hug and kissed the top of her head. She looked up at me and leaned up and kissed my lips. Aizawa. Okay, students, all of your parents have been invited to check up on your progress and meet with your teachers. I've already contacted them, so you don't have to worry about informing them or in some of your cases not informing them. At this time, put on your costumes and meet me at the gym. We're going to continue to work on your ultimate moves. Eri. Why wouldn't people want their parents to know? Izuku. Well, some people aren't doing as well as they should in our class, so they might not want their parents here. But for now I need you to go with your mommies so the guys can get dressed. I leaned down, gave her a kiss and sent her on her way. When I got to the gym, I could see Eri with Midnight working on her spelling. Today I'm going to focus on my electricity and my fire attacks. I can see Eri looking my way, so I wave to her and then I start to train. Bakugo. I see Deku training and WTF. When did he learn to use fire? And I forgot that he could use electricity. He made a WHP out of fire and a shield, then I caught a kick to the head by ectoplasm. He quickly told me to focus on my techniques and not to worry about others. DMN. It is right, I get back to training my quirk and I focus, trying to get even more focused explosions for maximum damage. Izuku. This week flew by and before I knew it our parents were in the school. My mom was the first to show up and Eri squealed when she entered the class. Right behind her were Ochako's parents, then Momo's parents, then I saw a large toad-looking man and a woman that was also frog-like but she was pretty. Then I saw a rocker-looking guy and a woman that earjacks like Gyro. Then Bakugo's mom walked in followed by the rest of the parents. Eri shot out of her seat and ran and hugged my mom. When my mom put her down, she ran over to Ochako's parents and hugged both of them. Then she went to Momo's parents and hugged them. The sight warmed my heart. All of them hugged her back before she came back to her seat. When my mom got over to my desk, I could see Ochako's parents and Momo's parents looking at me. I waved to them. 𝐼𝐼𝐴 POVOK class, we're going to the gym, put on your costumes and show your parents how much you have grown this year. I send in the students by seat number to show their parents how they improved. I notice when Bakugo finished his display, his mom asked him why did he need for her to pay for additional hand-to-hand training. It wasn't until Izuku stepped up that I noticed that quite a few parents were really looking at his performance. I expected maybe the girls he was involved with, but Tsuyu's parents, Jiro's parents, and Bakugo's mom were all really interested. Izuku POV. As I stretched out, I looked up and saw my mom looking at me while she held Eri. She looked so proud. Standing next to her were Ochiko's and Momo's parents. They all were looking at me with pride on their faces. As I looked around, I saw Tsuyu standing with her family and they were staring at me. Her father in particular didn't look happy with me. Jiro was with her family and her father didn't look very happy with me. When Cementos finished with the setup of my course, I smiled at my mom and Eri and I began. Parents POV. We saw Izuku go into a 3-point stance, then he was gone. One of the concrete targets exploded along with the wall behind it. A green blur shot up, knocking out 3 targets in seconds. The last target, which was standing behind a wall that was about 3 feet thick, was taken down along with the wall when he was done, and the boy wasn't even breathing hard. He looked up to his mom and waved and walked out of the training area. Tsuyu POV. I looked at my dad after Izuku's performance. I could see that he was very impressed. Tsuyu POV. I looked at my dad after Izuku's performance. I could see that he was very impressed. My father's eyes never left Izuku even as he was walking towards his mom, who let Eri go and she ran to him and jumped into his arms. He asked me who was the little girl and I told him that it was his adopted daughter. He looked down at me and asked me to introduce them. He has questions that he wanted answered before he would approve of us as a couple. Jiro POV. My mom looked at me when Izuku joined his family and said, I can see why you're interested in this boy. Jiro POV. My mom looked at me when Izuku joined his family and said, I can see why you're interested in this boy. My dad looked at me and said that was a rocking performance and looked at how he was acting with Eri. My dad shocked me when he said, I like that he is so good with that little girl you told us he adopted. It makes me feel good about how he will treat my future grandchildren. I felt my face turn red when my mom looked at me and said, I think that it's time we meet this boy. Izuku POV. As we watch Momo finish her demonstration and she joined us, Tsuyu called my name and waved for me to come over. I walked over to her with Eri still in my arms and greeted her and introduced myself to her parents. Her father spoke first. Midoriya, I would like for you to join us for dinner on Sunday. I would like to know more about the young man who my daughter is interested in, he said. I looked over to Tsuyu and said it would be my pleasure. We shook hands and he turned and left. Jiro POV. I see Tsuyu walking away with her family. When I call out to Izuku, he smiled and walked over to us. I introduced him to my parents and my dad introduced himself to Eri, shyly said hi. Izuku explained that she was very shy. My mom told Eri that she was very pretty and Eri blushed and said thank you. My dad asked Izuku if he had any plans for tomorrow because he wanted to know more about the young man who had his daughter enamored. I felt my heart start to race and I blushed. Izuku smiled and said that he would love to join us tomorrow. My mom smiled and said we'll see you tomorrow, and she left with my dad. I followed them. I turned back and saw Izuku join his mom. Izuku POV. I met up with Jiro and her parents for lunch and it was really nice. Her mom showed me embarrassing baby pictures of Jiro and I listened to all 3 of them singing together and that was awesome. They sang Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Then Jiro told her parents that I could sing. I began to blush and said that I'm not really that good, but her parents asked me to sing a song. Before I could pick a song, Jiro asked me to sing Sound of Silence by Disturbed. She looked so happy to hear me sing that song, so I did. Jiro POV. I listened to him sing. My father was shocked by the rang of his vocals. My mom just listened to him sing and when he was done they both got up and applauded. My mom looked at the time and asked me to help her in the kitchen to set lunch on the table. Izuku POV. Jiro and her mom left the room and her dad looked at me and asked me what do I see when I look at his daughter. I smiled at him and said I see a honest shy girl who hides her feelings. A devoted friend who isn't afraid to stand up for her friends. He looked at me and smiled and said, you know who she really is. Then he said, I know how she feels about you, and asked me to take care of her and not to break her heart or he would hunt me down. Just then the girls returned and we enjoyed our meal. When I got home the girls and I relaxed and talked about how our day went. The next day flew by as I got ready to join Tsuyu for dinner. When I got there her dad opened the door. I think that he doesn't like me by how he is looking at me. 𝐶𝐬 I heard a knock on the door and my dad opened the door. 𝐒𝐿 is dressed up nicely and my dad let him in. My mom and my siblings joined us in the living room. I walked over to him and gave him a hug and led him into the dining room. I could see how nervous 𝐒𝐿 looked. It was cute. When we were done eating, my dad asked 𝐒𝐿 to join him in the living room. 𝐶𝐬 dad when we walked into the living room, I asked him to sit down. Why are you interested in my daughter? She always had a hard time making friends in school and didn't make her first friend until middle school. You're a good-looking young man, you're strong, and I don't want you to hurt her by playing with her emotions. I would rather you walk away now than give her false hope. 𝐒𝐿 sir, I can honestly tell you that hurting 𝐶𝐬 is the last thing I would ever do. She is one of the kindest people I know. When I was going through a rough spot, she reached out to me and helped lift my spirits. She went out of her way to help me when my family was in trouble. I really treasure my relationship with her. She is kind to my child, she is honest, and I feel like I don't deserve the love that she has shown me. 𝐶𝐬 as my mom and my siblings, and I listened to 𝐒𝐿 talk to my dad. I couldn't help but to tear up listening to him tell my dad how he really felt about me. My mom gave me a hug and told me to go to him. I went into the room and 𝐒𝐿 and my dad both looked at me. I ran and hugged him. He hugged me back. I didn't know that you felt so strongly about me, and I feel the same way about you. 𝐒𝐿 I felt 𝐶𝐬 leaning into me after she spoke. Then her mother and her siblings came into the room. 𝐶𝐬 stepped back and her little sister ran to me and jumped so she could hug me too. Her brother came up to me while I was hugging his sister and asked me to please take care of his sister. I smiled and said I'll do my best to make her happy. Not too long after that went home. Tomura Shigaraki POV I have a plan to bring down that boy. I have the two people that can make it happen, Wolfram and 9. Tomura Shigaraki POV I have a plan to bring down that boy. I have the two people that can make it happen, Wolfram and 9. Both were hand-picked by the MSTR, and unlike Overhaul they will not go down easily. I've got Mange, Toga, and Compress already laying down the groundwork. We're going to break his spirit and then we're going to crush him. Kurogiri POV are you sure you won't do that? Overhaul tried that and it backfired spectacularly. He is now paralyzed from the neck down and Gigantomachia was beaten senseless. Twice warned you that this boy is not to be taken lightly. All we know about him is that he has a powerful strength quirk. Some of the villains who were there when he rescued those girls said he was more monster than man. He went in alone and leveled the entire mansion. Tomura Shigaraki POV then what do you suggest that we do? Kurogiri POV we study him, learn as much as we can, then strike once hard and swift. Don't give him a chance to retaliate. I recommend prudence when you're dealing with unknown powers and resources. Was he alone when he beat those two, or did he have help? Tomura Shigaraki POV I hate it when you're right. I need to reconsider my plans and learn more about this boy. He is seeing me off. I need to go out for a while and rethink my plans. But soon we're going to strike. Bakugo POV come on mom, I spent the weekend with you like you asked. I need the extra martial arts instructions or I'll lose to him again. I want to be number one and I can't afford to lose to him again. She looked at me and asked why did it bother me so much to lose to him. I didn't want to tell her how weak he was, how I used to bully him. Then there was the fact that he thoroughly beat me in 2 fights, and at the end on one of those fights I had to apologize to his family. She sighed and finally agreed to pay for the extra training on the weekends. I won't lose to him again. 𝐒𝐿 POV as our class started I was helping Eri with one of her math problems when Mr. Aizawa entered talking about internships. Eri looked at me asking what was an internship. Before I could answer, Mr. Aizawa explained what it was. He handed out a list of papers. It had a bunch of heroes' names and locations of their operations. I wanted to go back to Gran Torino but his name wasn't on the list. I wanted to speak with the girls about who they were going to choose. When Mr. Aizawa called Ochako, Tsuyu, and Todoroki saying that Endeavor was interested in teaching them. Gyro and Momo also had heroes interested in them. I was feeling kind of left out when he called my name. There were a lot of heroes interested in me. Most of them heard about the test I took with the top 5 heroes and other students. The Dragoon hero was very interested in me interning with her. I guess she liked the fact that I also turn into a dragon and the fact that we already fought against each other. When I took a look at the list, it had heroes like Endeavor, Hawks, Miko, and Gang Orca. I was tempted to go with Ochako and Tsuyu but thought better of it. I decided to go with Dragoon Hero. I would be the only one from my class going to join her. Bakugo POV that BSTRD got his pick of heroes. I only had the one interested in me. Granted, he was the number 3 hero, but still. I don't understand why Deku didn't go with the number 1 hero or the someone in the top 5. What a fool, but this is my chance to pull ahead. When this is done, I'll surpass him. This is the chance I needed to regroup, clear my head, and push forward. He will see, no, the whole class will see why I deserve the number 1 slot. Ochako POV as we got ready to go for our internships, Izuku's mom came over to the house to care for Eri. Eri is the one taking it the hardest. This will be the first time that she won't be with one of us for any extended period of time since she has come to live with us. Eri looked sad when we said that she couldn't go with us. Momo walked over to her and smiled. She asked her who was her favorite hero. Eri smiled and said her dad was. Momo smiled and opened her shirt, and a few seconds later a Deku plushie doll popped out in full costume. Eri's eyes went wide as Momo gave her the doll. She thanked Momo and asked her if she could make one of me and Momo as well. Momo smiled, and a few seconds later Eri was hugging all 3 plushie dolls and squealing in joy. I could see a tear in Momo's eyes when Eri asked for one of her. We all took turns hugging her goodbye before we left for our internships. Dragoon Hero as Izuku entered my agency. I introduced him to the rest of the team. When he entered my office, I asked him what he wanted to improve on. He looked me in the eyes and said control. That the last time he was in his dragon form he had some really violent urges and had to be talked down by a friend. While my quirk doesn't affect me in that way, but we will work this out. What other shortcomings are you trying to fix? He said I want to work on improving my decision-making process while in combat. Go change into your hero costume and let's get your training started. Izuku POV as the Dragoon Hero and I were walking. I started to feel different. Oh no, this isn't good. I need to get off the streets. I need to get away from her. As the breeze shifted, she caught my scent and I saw the look in her eyes change, and that's when he struck. Thin metal cables wrapped around Ryukyu's neck and wrists. Before I could react, a villain told me not to move. I could see small beads of BLD around her neck and wrists. Wolfram POV what are the odds of me running into you in the streets? Fortune is on my side. Shigaraki wants you badly and is promising power to the one who catches you. If you don't want her to lose her head, get into the truck right now. I'll let her go completely intact. If you try anything, she will lose her hands first, then her head. It doesn't make a difference to me. Dragoon Hero POV as I feel the cables cutting into my skin while this madman is giving Izuku an ultimatum. Before I could tell Izuku to run, I heard him speak in a tone that made my BLD run cold. I looked at his eyes as he spoke and they shifted. They now looked cat-like and I could see the rage in them. Izuku, I will get into the truck without fighting you, but if you hurt her any more than what you have, I will make you regret the day you laid your eyes upon her. This is not a threat, this is my promise to you. Release her and I'll get into the truck. Hurt her and I will put you into a world of hurt that your body has never known. Wolfram PV, I like you. You're a bold one, aren't you? I like that. I'll let her go as soon as you get into the truck. Miss Hero, don't you dare try to follow us or I'll slice off his head. I'm going to put him in the same restraints you're in, do you understand? I'm supposed to bring him back alive. If I can, dead is also fine, so don't test me. Oh, before I forget, Izuku, lose your cell phone. I don't want them to try tracking you by your phone. Izuku PV, I slowly reach into my back pocket and pull my phone out and toss it to the ground, never taking my eyes off this madman. He has a metal manipulating quirk and he is really good with it. If I try anything right now, he will kill her. Plus I really need to leave this area. I slowly walk towards the truck, then I feel the cable wrap around my neck, wrists and ankles. He released the cable from the Dragoon Hero and jumped into the truck. As the door slid shut, I smiled at her to reassure her that it's going to be alright. Dragoon Hero POV as I watched Izuku get into the truck, I knew that this villain bit off more than he could chew. I knew the only reason he was playing along with this was get out of a populated area. But his smile as the door closed told me that this was going to get ugly. We need to find him quickly. Izuku POV as we ride in the truck, I harden my skin so that I won't get cut. I asked the villain his name and he told me it was Wolfram. I waited until I thought we were out of town and told the villain to stop the truck. He laughed at me and said no, so I shifted my density and the tires blew out and the back bottomed out. Wolfram jumped out of the truck and it started to crumple in on me. I start forcing my way out of the truck. When I started getting out of the truck, I could see Wolfram looking at me. The more I try to step out of the truck, the more it wraps itself around me. I can see rebar shooting out of the concrete. I do a partial shift to stop the rebar. I flex my wings and break free of the truck. Wolfram POV WF. The truck just slammed down. I jump out thinking the Dragoon hero landed on top of us somehow, but it's just the two of us. I keep wrapping the truck around him, but this is barely slowing him down. I pull rebar out of the street to try to stop this child. I'll just keep stabbing him until he drops. The boy changed into a lizard man with wings and broke free of the truck, so I send the rebar flying at him and nothing. More I need more. I start pulling more metal from the street. I start trying to wrap him in it, but he made a flaming WHP that is cutting the metal like a hot knife through butter. I run up to him while he was distracted and punched him hard enough to shatter bones. To my shock, my bones in my hand shattered and I scream out in pain. What is this kid made of? He barely took a step back. That should be impossible. With the power I put into it, he should have been launched at least 50 feet. Dragoon hero. I saw the villain trying to wrap a thick metal fence around Deku. Then Deku made a fire WHP and was cutting through it when the villain punched him and screamed in pain. This is my chance. I descend on this villain and sent him down hard to the ground. He rolled out of the way of my punch and got to his feet. I threw another punch and he grabbed my arm with his good arm and threw me at Deku, who caught me and spun and spread his wings around me. I heard the sounds of impact bouncing off his body. My head started to sway as I felt him pressed against me. I tried to get my head back in the game. But he was staring into my eyes and I couldn't move, and he spoke again. Izukupu Wolfram, I warned you that if you harmed her that I would make sure you regretted it. As I looked into her eyes I could feel my blood boil. He just tried to kill her while she was in my arms. I gently set her down and I could see him reinforcing the hand he just broke with metal. He was holding a long piece of metal shaped like a spear. I could feel his malice and see the anger in his eyes. I was trying to wear you down gently, but now I think that you could take the punishment that you like to dish out. Let's finish this. Wolfram P. This kid is a monster. I hit him with all of my might and nothing went through his skin, and the metal that didn't hit him went into concrete like it was wet paper. I need to get away. I can't beat him alone. I even tried to kill that hero from before and the boy shielded her with his body. As I stare him down, he disappeared. I felt a punch that sent me flying into the truck that he destroyed. I threw my spear at him and began to wrap myself in the metal to shield me from his punches. Izukupi, I caught the spear that her through. I see that you like metal. Do you think that it will save you from me? Please allow me to show you the error of your ways. I don't want to cook him alive, so fire is out. A punch with him surrounded in all of that metal. I might kill him accidentally. So that leaves electricity. I hit him with enough electricity to drop an elephant. I begin walking towards him while his armor started to fall as he dropped to his knees. Dragoon hero POV. I was blinded by a bright light and all of a sudden there was a thunderclap. Did he just hit him with lighting? As the villain dropped to his knees, I saw Deku walking up to him. The villain tried to raise an arm and I heard a bone snap. The villain screamed out in pain again as I stood up. Deku threw one last punch that knocked the villain out cold. Deku called out to me and asked me to call the police. He said that he needed to leave quickly. I told him the police were on the way. I went over to him. Once again I was overwhelmed with longing. It was primal. I wanted him. No, that's not right. I needed him right now. I placed my hand on his shoulder but he didn't turn, so I placed my hand on his cheek and turned his head. Once again I was looking into those bright green cat-like eyes. Izukugu, I'm in heat and I need to go find my girlfriend or things will go really bad. I heard the sirens as I looked into her eyes. She told me to endure this a little longer and that she would take me somewhere secluded. We both shifted back to normal. I stayed back as the police arrived and she made sure everything was taken care of. When she was done, she shifted once again. I followed suit and we flew away. I followed her to a mountain. As we got closer, I saw a cave and that's where we landed and went inside. I looked at her and said, will you find my girlfriend please? If I don't mate soon I will do a full shift and go into a rampage until I find a dragon to mate with. I can't control my urges yet, please help me. Dragoon hero. As I heard his plea, now I understand. He is almost like a ferret when he goes into heat. I smiled at him and walked up to him and told him that I will help you. I placed my hand onto his face and caressed it. As he looked me in the eyes, he told me that he couldn't ask to do this. He told how women within his scent would lose control and want to have sex with him. Now I know why he wanted to be alone and why I couldn't get my head in the game. This poor young man, this has to be HA on him, no pun intended. I could see the look in his eyes, the need in them. the hurt in them for not being able to control his needs. Don't worry Izuku, you have a dragon here that will help you. Dragoon Hero Pivi, I usually come here when I need to clear my mind, so you don't need to worry. Nobody is going to just show up for right now, just try to relax. I take it this isn't your first time with a woman. Izuku, no it's not, I said shyly, my urges wanting me to jump on her right now. Make her mind fighting my primal urges. I start breathing deeply, trying to relax. She placed her hand on my face and it felt good, her hands were surprising soft. As she looked into my eyes she leaned in and kissed me. Lemon warning third person POV. As Izuku and the Ryako kissed he began to embrace her. She let her hand wander down his abs to his breathes. He began to fondle her, he took off his shirt and she began to lift off her shirt. Izuku looked at her, his lust prompting him to push forward. He paused. Ryako looked at him and blushed, she swayed her hips as she walked to him and kissing him. She began working her way down and pulling down his breathes. He was hard, she was surprised with his size and began to slide him and he let out a mmm. She kneeled down and began to give him a blwjb. He began to soon his hand was on her head as he began shooting his load into her mouth and she struggled to swallow it down. Before she could realize what was happening he had picked her up and was sking and fndlng her brss. She in pleasure and he pulled down her breathes, he took her into his mouth. She even louder, grabbing his head making sure that he wouldn't stop. When she clenched she released him, he worked his way up and she wrapped her legs around him and he began to push himself in her, both of them making sounds of joy. He was looking into her eyes when he told her he was close to finishing. She pulled him in and began kissing him and he grunted and he finished in her. She thought he was done when he began pumping himself back in and out of her. He rolled her over and doing her doggy style, leaning in, biting her shoulder. She grabbing his head, enjoying the bite. He continued his strokes, getting stronger until he finished in her again. Both laid there in each other's arms when he asked her for more. She gave him a devilish grin and shifted. He did a partial shift and mounted her from behind. He grabbed her by the lower half of her body and with more force than he dared in human form began pounding her from behind, and this time when he finished he let out a primal roar along with fire. They continued on for the rest of the day and most of the night until they both collapsed. Lemon warning Izuku, I woke up with Ryako still in my arms. She was pretty and she looked so peaceful, but what have I done? I slept with my mentor, this can't be good, but what is done is done. I kissed the top of her head and she woke up. She smiled when she looked up at me, then she winced when she tried to move her legs. She asked me if I was feeling better and I looked at her and smiled and told her that she took the edge off most of it, but I could go for more if she was able. Dragoon Hero Pivi, you have to be kidding me. I can barely move my legs and I'm sore all the way up to my stomach. There is no way you're going to shove that monster back in me. That's why I shifted yesterday and you just got rougher and bigger when you shifted. I think you would have broken a normal woman. I'm just glad you didn't do a full shift. I think you really would have killed me. Izuku POV, I looked at her and smiled. I think we need to get dressed. I need to call one of my girlfriends. Just in case this time it really is hitting me harder than the last time. I could see the look of shock when I told her this. She looked me in the eyes and said, girlfriends, how many do you have? Better yet, do they know about each other? I smiled at her and said they know about each other and they encouraged me to find a few more for moments like this one. You have lasted the longest while making love. Dragoon Hero Pivi, I could feel the red in my face when he stated that we made love. It felt more like I got plowed through by a freight train. I smiled at him and said I think I'm going to need some help getting dressed. Izuku Pivi, after I helped Ryako get dressed I flew her to her house, ran hot water into the tub and undressed her and placed her into the tub. I smiled at her and said that I needed to find my phone and make some phone calls. I promised to call her when I found my phone. Then I flew out of her apartment. I went to the store where we were attacked and the shop owner found my phone and he held on to it for me. I just finished calling Ryako when I ran into Gyro. She was finishing up her patrol. Gyro Pivu, what are you doing around here still in costume? I thought your shift ended yesterday. When I looked into his eyes I could tell something was wrong. He was also trying to keep his distance from me. I know that he likes to take his time in a relationship, but he was acting different. Gang Orca looked at me and said that our shift was almost over, that I should walk my friend home if he wasn't feeling good and that he would see me tomorrow. Izuku Pivi, I need to get some distance between us. I don't want my first time with her to be like this. As I look at her I could tell my actions were actually making her feel bad. I know that she isn't the most confident with her looks. She walked up to me and asked me if I was okay. I started to panic a little. I grabbed her hand and asked her to follow me for a minute. When we were alone, I told her that I was in heat and that I was having a hard time controlling my urges right now. Gyro POV. I looked him in the eyes. They were cat-like. I could see the uncertainty in how he held himself. Once again I was reminded how kind he is. I took his hands and asked him to follow me. He put his head down and followed me. I smiled at him and kissed his cheek when he lifted his head, and I kissed his mouth. Izuku POV. When we were done kissing, she took my hand and asked me to follow her. I follow her. She leads me to a alley. When I begin to look around, we're standing in front of a LVHTL. My eyes go wide as she leads me in and gets us a room. As we enter the room, her brave facade melts away and the shy girl I fell for is standing in front of me. When she looked at next, I could see the fear in her eyes before she spoke. Izuku, I have a confession to make. Gyro POV. I looked into his eyes and told him that I wasn't a virgin. I was raped about 2 years ago, so I can't give you my chastity. This is part of the reason I was scared to be with you. I didn't want you to think less of me. Or worse, I didn't want you to hate me for not being pure like the other girls. What he did next surprised me. He wrapped me into a hug. His eyes were watering and said, I'm sorry if I ever made you felt that way. I felt my heart melt as I asked, you're not mad at me? Do you still want me? His answer was a simple kiss. There was more passion in that one kiss than I ever felt in my life. I melted into his kiss. Lemon warning. As he leaned in during the kiss, she melted into him. She began to taking his shirt off. She took his shirt off. She began kissing his neck and worked her way down his chest. When she got to his breathes, she undid his belt and unzipped his breathes. She was dumbstruck with how large he was. As she started stroking him, she opened her mouth and took him in. Izuku as Gyro worked up and down his. When she felt his hand on the back of her head and felt the explosion in her mouth as she struggled to swallow it all. He looked down at her and gently lifted her. He was gentle with her, slowly taking off her clothing, kissing her and caressing her. She emmed and he took off her breathes and panties in one fluid motion. He could see how nervous she was, so he began by kissing her inner thighs, working his way up. She emmed louder until he reached love hole. She bit down on her bottom lip as he worked his tongue in and out of her. She grabbed his head as she came. Izuku began working his way up to her and gently whispered in her ear, are you sure you want to do this? Those simple words made something in her snap. She went from wanting to be with him to wanting to connect to him. She cried out yes, and he gently worked himself into her. He began slowly pumping in and out of her, gently kissing her lips and FNDLNG her BRSTS until she lost herself in the moment as they made love until she passed out. She woke up later wrapped in his arms and a leather blanket. Lemon ending Gyro PV. As she laid there looking at Izuku sleep, she wished that this was her first time and not that violent ordeal she suffered through 2 years ago. While she was looking at him, she realized that the blanket they were under had veins running through it. She began touching it and it moved and woke Izuku up. Izuku PV. I felt something tickling the inside of my wing and it woke me up. I don't remember ever taking them out. I saw Gyro looking at me wide-eyed when she realized that I have wings. I nervously smiled at her and said they reflexively come out when I'm protecting something or when I feel protective over something I care about while I'm sleeping. Very few people know this and I'd like to keep it that way. I stood up and took a step back and opened them to their full extent, and she sat up and tried to stand but failed. She asked me to come closer and began touching them. They come out reflexively when you feel protective over someone, she asked while she was blushing. I smiled at her and said yes, and she began hugging me and said that she really enjoyed last night. I leaned in and hugged her back and wrapped my wings around her as well. Gyro, is that why you want to become a hero, to catch the people that did that to you? Gyro POV. The guys that did that to me were caught and are in prison right now. But if I could save the next girl from suffering what I went through, it would be worth it to me. Izuku, I'm sorry that I thought you wouldn't want me. I should have known better, but I was just afraid. I know it sounds silly now that I said it aloud, but I couldn't help how I felt. You're such good guy and I felt dirty, like I didn't deserve you because you deserve someone not broken like me. Izuku PV. No Gyro, it's not silly to feel that way, it's okay. Just know that I love you for you, not your past, and especially not for something that you had no control over. I will always be here for you for as long as you will have me. But if you want to be with me, Gyro, I have one request. She looked into my eyes with tears still in hers and said, anything you want, I'll do it. I reached out and lifted her chin and said, don't ever think you're broken or not worth being loved. You're a kind girl with a big heart and you deserve to be loved. So please don't ever think that again and think better of yourself, and if you're ever feeling like that again, come to me, talk with me, and I'll help you carry your burden as best I can now and for as long as you will have me. 𝐤𝐻𝐽𝐵. I hugged him, crying, his words lifting a weight I didn't even know I was carrying off my shoulders. My knees buckled and his strong arms held me, his wings wrapped around me, and it was warm. I felt safe, I felt loved, and for the first time in a long time I felt at peace with myself. He held me until I stopped shaking. When I pulled back, he stood there with tears in his eyes but with a smile on his face, and I knew at that moment that he really wanted me for me and that he truly loves me and I would do anything for him. 𝐒𝐿 POV. 𝐤𝐻𝐽𝐵. We didn't use any protection. Do you have any of the pills to keep you from getting pregnant? She smiled at me and said yes and pulled a medicine bottle out and popped a pill. Come on 𝐤𝐻𝐽𝐵, let's go home. 𝐒𝐿 POV. As I walk into my mother's house, 𝐒𝐻𝐽𝐵 came flying down the hallway and jumped into my arms. I felt how hard she was squeezing my neck and the little trembles in her arms, and I asked her, "Are you okay?" In a very soft voice she told me that she was scared that something bad happened to me when she saw what happened to me on TV. 𝐻𝐻𝐵 continued to say, "I thought I lost you and I didn't hear from you or my mom's, and I was scared that I was alone again." I felt my stomach drop. I didn't even think to check in with her to see how she was doing. "I'm so sorry, I'll do a better job of keeping in touch with you when I have to work like I did this week." 𝐿 POV. As I listen to 𝐻𝐻𝐵 talking to my baby, my heart just breaks. But I try to comfort her by saying, "See, I told you that your daddy was alright. But you'll never be alone, I'll be here for you too." 𝐒𝐿. Who is the young lady with you? I remember her from your school, but we were never introduced. The young lady never took her eyes off my son, and I could see the look in her eyes as she saw him comfort 𝐻𝐻𝐵. 𝐒𝐿. I'm sorry mom, this is 𝐤𝐻𝐽𝐵, she is also in my class, she and I just started dating. 𝐤𝐻𝐵 POV. As I look at how 𝐒𝐿 and 𝐻𝐻𝐵 acted with each other, I remember what 𝐶UYU told me about how he is with 𝐻𝐻𝐵 and how attached 𝐻𝐻𝐵 is with him. He really treats her like his child and she loves him like he's her dad. I didn't even hear his mom talk at that moment. I was just amazed with how kind he really is. When I realized that 𝐒𝐿 was trying to introduce me to his mom, I blush and apologize to her and properly introduce myself. As I was speaking with his mom, he excused himself to help 𝐻𝐻𝐵 pack 𝐿 POV. As my son walked away with 𝐻𝐻𝐵 still in his arms, I studied the girl closely and I could tell she is heads over heels for my son. 𝐤𝐻𝐵. He is an amazing dad and that little girl truly loves him. I've met the other girls, please help them watch over my 𝐒𝐿 and 𝐻𝐻𝐵. He is reckless and will do anything to protect his loved ones. 𝐤𝐻𝐵 looked at me and told me that she will do everything in her power to protect them. I hugged her and thanked her as 𝐒𝐿 came out the room still carrying 𝐻𝐻𝐵 in his arm and carrying her bag in his other arm. They said goodbyes and left. Time skipped to the next day. 𝐔𝐻𝐻𝐵 POV. MSTR thinks highly of you. Wolfram moved without authorization and got caught by the Dragoon hero. I never thought he would go down that easily. So don't disappoint me like he did. I want this kid caught alive. The only after I'm is done, then I'll kill him. Use whatever means necessary but don't kill him. 9 POV. Bringing in children that are still in school is beneath me. But if it's the MSTR's will for me to help you, I'll make it happen. Where can I find this child so that I can narrow down my search? Better yet, does he have any family or friends in the area to draw him out? 𝐒𝐻𝐵 POV. Here are the locations of his family and loved ones. Just be warned that someone else tried this tactic and failed. This child, as you like to call him, is very resourceful and a lot stronger than he looks. Overhaul and Wolfram have failed to bring him down, and Overhaul had some very powerful recourses at his disposal. 9 PH. With the power the MSTR has given me, this will be too easy. I'll have him captured within the week. I'll crush anyone that stands in my way. At the same time at school, 𝐤𝐻𝐵 POV. I learned so much at my internship. Gang Orca is a lot smarter than he looks. He knows how to get the best out of all of his people. What about you, 𝐒𝐻𝐵? How was your internship? What was Endeavor like? 𝐒𝐻𝐵 POV. He is strong, very smart and condescending. We spent a lot of time just trying to keep up with him. I learned a lot during our week there. I didn't realize how large his agency is and how diverse all of the missions they go on are. Mina POV. 𝐒𝐿. How was it training with the Dragoon hero? I heard that you had a hand catching a very powerful villain. I bet that was scary. You have a knack for getting into bad situations. Speaking of scary, can I talk with you alone after class? I have a couple of questions I need to ask you. Izuku, be sure, just let me walk Eri and the girls home and I'll meet up with you at the dorm's common area and we'll leave from there. Just then Mr. Aizawa walks in and we begin our homeroom class. Once school was over, I helped Eri pack her book bag and picked her up. She has been very clingy since I got home. She even asked me to sleep in her room with her last night. After I dropped her off at the house and got her started on her homework, I left to meet up with Mina. Jiro and Ochiko were in the kitchen cooking and Momo and Tsuyu were helping Eri with her homework. Mina POV as Izuku walked and I smiled and we walked out of the dorms and down one of the scenic trails on the school grounds. I looked him in the eyes and asked him what he thought about me. Izuku POV, I think you're outgoing, confident and fun to be around. I enjoy your company, you always manage to make me smile. Plus, if I'm being honest, I really like your eyes. I turn a little red when I realized what I just said. Mina POV, when I see Izuku blush it made me happy. Do you really think I'm confident? To be honest, my pink skin, my horns and my dark eyes make me a little self-conscious, so I go out of my way to get people to see past that. I got teased a lot when I was young, forcing me to act like I have more confidence than what I really have just to make friends. Izuku, I would like to hang out with you Saturday, just you and me, is that okay? I could feel my heart pounding in my chest when he looked into my eyes and said okay.